I can't be here all meeting.
Linda, we'll copy. Now, Alicia, please say your public comments. Thank you.
My partner's coming too, so.
You might need more.
Right.
Might need a wagon.
I'm on vacation starting tomorrow, so it's okay.
All right, welcome to the Etna Township Board of Trustees regular meeting Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 at 6 p.m. I call the meeting to order. We'll start with the invocation. Mr. Johnson.
Bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, thank you for this day and thank you for the citizens of the township. Be with us today, protect us, help us be a peaceful people, and help the wars that are going on across the world, help them find peace also. I pray that you be with those who protect us from ensure our freedoms, and be with those that miss their loved ones as they're gone in that service. Amen.
Amen. Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call please, Ms. Berry.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mrs. McKee?
Here.
Before I start, I'd like to just remind the other trustees, please speak into the microphones. I've had many residents comment that they cannot hear YouTube, so thank you. I move to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I would like to amend the agenda. I need to amend the agenda today. I need to add under old business board appointment for president, and then agreement for professional UMB local government business. And then I also need to move Pike Street, the mulch for Pike Street under old business. I need to move that to the first thing that we talk about, because Bill Locher's going to be here. Yeah, so he needs to speak. And then I need to move the comp plan down to where the Pike Street is, as far as the agenda.
Okay, so you repeat that. You want?
I want to add under old business board appointments.
We're at
And then
bottom of it.
you can add that under F. That's
Okay.
fine. Since
Okay.
it's G.
That's F? Okay.
Yeah, and then under G, agreement for the professional UWM, local government resources. Need to add that under old business.
UWM?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And G is.
Or you can just say professional local government resources.
Are you talking about Mr. Vance's contract?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and then also we want to move Pike Street that you have on the agenda now. We just need to move that up to A, because Locher's going to come in and speak on that. And then we also need to move the comp plan down to C, because he has to leave. That's why he asked if we could move it. That's all. I just need to.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, discussion. I would just like to say that I had asked for input on this agenda, did not get any response from either trustee, and to try to amend at the meeting on important matters is, I think, inappropriate. To give the public proper time to show up if they so want to speak, and that there would be no reason that you wouldn't have been able to provide this prior. We cannot slip into the prior practices of the last board to throw these issues at last minute to try to keep resident participation down.
You just made that up. That's not true. We're not trying to
Ms.
keep,
McKee, I'm speaking.
we're not trying to keep
You-
anybody
there's
from
no-
listening. That's not true, Mark. You just made that up.
Ms.
That's not
McKee, I'm
true.
speaking. I had asked both of you last week any agenda items you would like to add. There was zero response. So, and that's the same with when I requested the administrators that have not been interviewed to be interviewed. 7 times I requested and there was zero response from both of you. So it's clear you're trying to just shut me out, do this between yourselves, and I think this is very inappropriate to add these items last minute. So again, that the residents do not have the opportunity to review and come here if they should choose. So, and that's why, if you've noticed, these agenda items aren't single word items. They're descriptive, so people actually know what's going on in the township. So again, this is, I believe, inappropriate, and I would make a motion.
Point of order, Mark,
Make a
listen,
motion.
under Robert's rules, you have 3 minutes to debate. That's it. So we have to move on. Read your point,
I'm
read
making
your
a
Robert's rule.
motion.
Okay.
I'm making a motion to amend your amendment to remove item F, item G, keep the movement of the Pike Street to the first thing we talk about under old business, and that's that. Is there a second? All right. And so we'll go back to the other motion, and again, discussion. You say point of order, 3 minutes. You have that rule in front of you.
That is the Robert's rule. I don't have my
There's
book with me.
not
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Mark. Yes, it is. There is 2. I don't have my book with me.
It is disheartening that you want to limit debate.
Between the...
On
Well,
important
because we're not
items.
going to be here till 11 o'clock like we did last meeting.
Right.
Exactly. So let's move on.
But this is...
Let's move on.
This is continuing the old board's practice of springing on.
See, you're going back to the old board. We got to move forward.
We might as well just
We're
have
moving forward.
Carlisle in your seat.
We're not going to talk about what happened back then. We're moving forward.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. This is not your board, Mark. This is the township. This is the board. We're the
Exactly.
board, the 3 of us.
Exactly, and that's why we should be transparent to the residents and including the agenda items we're going to speak to. I just received these contracts that you sprung on me for William Vance and the IT just before the meeting. These things should be provided prior and at minimum on the agenda. If you don't want to be
Did you get the
transparent,
agenda, the contract today, or did you get it yesterday? That's what I need you to answer.
this is
now.
what this resolution contract today, but again, I'm fighting for transparency of this board. There were issues with the previous board
Here you go. Back to the back to the previous board.
because we're continuing those bad behaviors.
Stop.
So,
So do
Any
you
other
wanna-
discussion?
You want to go ahead and call roll call
well,
for which we got a second. I asked for amendment. Jeff seconded. Julie?
we haven't
Yeah.
ended discussion.
Yeah,
have we?
discussion's done. It's 3 minutes, that's it.
No,
Let's
it's
go
not.
on. Yes, it is, according to Robert's rule. Julie, let's go.
No,
Call for the question, Julie.
this.
Julie,
you
call
for
for,
the question.
Julie,
Okay, now
Julie.
it is. you
Roll call,
for the-
sorry, roll call, Julie.
You called for the question, so now the discussion
Yeah,
ends.
no,
That's proper
call for the
procedure.
question, okay. Let's move.
Roll call, please, Julie.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Ms. McKee?
Yes,
Now, all right, adoption of meeting minutes. I move to adopt the meeting minutes from March 15th, 2022, the special meeting only. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Johnson seconds. Discussion. Have you two reviewed these minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Here, all right. As there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
All right, public comments. Limited 5 minutes per person. Please come up, state your name and address, and let us know your thoughts.
My name is Linda Corniola. I live at 59 Trail East in Etna Township. And I had a couple items I wanted to discuss tonight. One, I wanted to welcome new members.
Thank you.
I haven't been here since you guys took office. Sorry, I have some health issues going on that keep me from being here. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to discuss was the hiring of this administrator. And I thought it was a position at first, but now I think it seems like it's a contract from looking at the information that Mr. Vance sent over about 1 day per week, 3,000, 2 days, 4,250, 3 days, 5,000. They include trustee monthly meetings, routine travel costs, 24/7 on-call availability, and regional meeting attendance. But what are the deliverables for this? What do you expect this man to do for the township? Have we given him a sheet of paper that says, okay, Bill, we're going to hire you, and here's the list of things we want you to accomplish? If we haven't done that, I don't see that there's any way that this is going to succeed in what he's doing. And if it's an open-ended contract, it could go on forever. I was in purchasing for a long time before I went into my life now. So I'm used to looking at contracts. I'm used to looking at procurement and good procurement policies. Normally, something over this amount, you do a 2-person bid, sealed, take the lowest bidder. So I don't know what you guys are giving this poor man. Maybe he thinks he's a great man because he'll make a ton of money. But what are you giving him to go by? What do we expect him to do? What is his deliverable to Etna Township? And I would like it if somebody could answer that question. I don't know if you guys can do that now. I don't think you can, but that's a question. The next thing is a little touchier. And if I have a heart attack and die here, somebody please resuscitate me. Thank you. I'm getting older, and with some recent health issues, I don't go out a whole lot anymore. Also because of the vitriol that's been happening in my neighborhood and in my township. For those of you who do not know the definition of vitriol, it is abusive or venomous language used to express blame or censure or bitter, deep-seated ill will, invective, vituperation, contumely, insult, revilement, vilification, abuse, a rude expression intended to offend or hurt. I hear this from everyone, and I'm sick of it. I moved into Cumberland Trails in 2008. It was a great community, very friendly. All the neighbors on my end of the street, we had parties, we went Christmas caroling. It was a very, very nice environment. I used to walk walk a lot more. I used to go up and feed the ducks, but I don't feel safe walking down my street anymore. In 2014, things started getting nasty between two neighbors, the Zackers and the Triggs. It was horrible. Both their actions, posting horrendous signs in their yards, was embarrassing to the entire neighborhood. Having lived there for a while, I knew and was friends with all the people on the street. However, I feel that I was targeted by the Zackers and have been the recipient of much anger and aggressive abuse because I knew the other neighbor and I would not choose sides. I was made to feel that if I didn't choose the Zackers' point of view on what they wanted to do, that I was the bad person. I was the horrible person. So many nasty comments. And you talk about dog poop. I'm afraid to walk by their house. My daughter walks my dogs for me, and I apologize for that. I will talk to her. But I'm scared to walk by there, and I'm shaking right now. Since this time, others have moved into the neighborhood, people I've never personally met, and they've expressed a dislike towards me based on their friendship with the Zackers. Now, I see this abusive or venomous language used to create an email address that has been used to request information from this township. And I'm not going to read it out for some sensitive ears here, but it basically is FOFF libtards 55 and 59 CTGC. If you don't know what that means, I will spell it out for you, but I don't like to use those words. I'm afraid for my safety. Horrible Facebook posts from another area geared to continually stir up controversy. Here's an example. If you weren't online at midnight, then you missed another fun episode of the Etna Shit Show.
That's me.
A trustee posted...
Ma'am, sit down, please. You'll have your choice.
A trustee posted and rammed a political...
Okay, 5 minutes. Thanks, Ms. Linda. 5 minutes.
Okay, I don't understand this, Adrian. I don't understand this vitriol, and y'all need to fix it. All of it. Every single
All right, we're done.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I also came to discuss about the administrator position. If you go with the contractor, my name is Teresa Ogershock, 484 Trail West. If you go with the contractor position, I would assume that they would be doing everything in the job description, which does include day-to-day activities of the department. One of the things I did not see in the job description was disaster management. Every community needs a disaster plan. Jeff, have you been to the disaster training?
I have FEMA training.
You have FEMA, do you have the Ohio disaster training that they do every year?
Not every year. I have been on one of those before in the past.
I would assume that the other trustees will get assigned and go. I assume if we use a contractor, he has got his certificate that he has been to the training. I've been to 2 different classes over the years. As administrator when I was working at Mount Carmel, I was the incident commander at night shift until relieved. I do not know what the disaster plan is for Etna Township, or if we have a disaster plan. In this world, we need one. But that should also be incorporated into the job description of what to do in emergencies. If we have, God forbid, a tornado, who comes at that point? Who's the incident commander? Does he serve as, in charge of the workforce? Does he serve as the incident commander? Those things need to be delegated when you're looking at the job description. I feel that it's not a complete job description. If we hire a contracted person, he should know everything that needs done. He should have his 1 day of orientation, and he should be able to do the job and get the job done. I don't want to see this, well, we didn't get down to it, I didn't have time for it. If we're hiring a contracted person, we need that contractor person to do the job, day 2. 1 day for orienting, where you hand over everything that you've been doing that is under his job description. Day 2, he needs to be doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shock, if you would, if you want the plan that's out there, the fire district is the one that runs the plan currently.
You should have a township one too.
Well, what they do is they contact me, and I arrange what the township needs to do to help the fire department out in different things. So we had the big
You should have your own
flood.
township.
Well, I'm just,
Every business should have their own disaster plan.
I believe we should, and that's one of the things I've been pushing for, proper policies and procedures of the township.
You don't want to turn over your money and your control to someone else. You want to be in control of a disaster.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Tom Cooper, and I've lived in Etna Township for a little over 40 years. And first of all, I don't know what's happened. I really cannot believe the bad attitude that is in this building. It's ridiculous, just in a month's time. I was here a month ago and was not able to speak. we all should be ashamed. We're acting like infantile juveniles instead of full-grown adults. I'm sorry, but that's, I walked in the door, been here for 20 minutes. It's terrible. You all should be ashamed. Now, the reason I'm here is I've had the pleasure, and I say that tongue-in-cheek, of Federal Express moving into my backyard. Literally. I have not had a full night's sleep in 8 months because of the constant banging. I installed a bay window in my second story bedroom. I paid $5,000 for the window. It's probably about a $15,000 job. Never had to have curtains because we had plants. Had to put very thick curtains just to block the lights that are shining in my bedroom window every night. The constant banging, which for some reason is worse on Sunday nights. Sunday night I just can't sleep because of the constant banging over there. For some reason they built a wall that they put one section that was tall enough to block the light, but where the people live and where the building is, it's not tall enough to block the light. And what is going on, somebody should be writing tickets for the way the houses that they partially demoed with the rats and things that could come in there. They've had plenty of time. I am a commercial electrician. I have worked construction. That building was built shoddily. It's going to have problems with water flow. Their retention pond is almost full, and we haven't even had any flash flooding to speak of. It's going to overflow onto 70. It was a poor design. The building was threw up quickly so that they could get open for Christmas, and they've never finished their job. Part of their job is what's going on there on Tollgate, on those houses. There should be a fine every single day until they get that cleaned up. I don't understand what's going on. But after seeing what I see tonight, debated whether to come here or try to get the news on my side so that I can actually get some sleep in a house. My intent, I'm 62 years old, was to spend the rest of my life in that house. My wife and I fixed it up. We love it. I'm moving. I mean, I've got to move, and it stinks.
I'd just like to thank you, briefly comment on that. If I was on the board, I would not have voted for it. Our zoning commission voted against it. The prior board pushed it through, and you're exactly right, that sound wall is ridiculous. The 10-foot or 11-foot section is built in a valley. I got a call from one of your neighbors saying I can see the trucks over it. And I'm thinking, what, are you on your roof? No, standing on the ground because it's in a valley, it's useless.
And because the water is draining, there is
To it.
proper drainage. I have a reflection pond from their lights to my backyard into my house, besides the ones that come directly into my house.
I am working with the developer to try to get some concessions with them.
Well, they shouldn't have the second building approved.
Right, and it's, the first one should have been, or with the sound wall proper, but that stuff's been put in place by the prior board, and so we're limited on what we can do there.
Which I spoke before they built the building with all these concerns.
The prior
None of them were met.
They didn't want to listen, and that's why I ran.
Exactly, they did not want to listen.
So I'm trying. It's very limited to what can be done, but working with some of the neighbors out there, Vicki Hensel and that quite a bit. She's been one of the real vocal ones. But yeah, I'm pushing.
I can get every neighbor to sign any kind of petition or whatever
Well, a lot of
I've
it,
talked to every single one of them.
again, I don't know if Mr. Johnson wants to make a comment about it, but it's the prior board with their conditions on the sound wall and all that. Again, I would not have done it. I don't know if he's working for the residents right now on those issues, are you, or?
I have a question, Mark, because I know you mentioned that you're working with the developers. What, and I've heard it's for several meetings, what's the update on it? What are they saying? What are their plan as far as,
They're
have we taken
proposing,
anything back from?
yeah, they're proposing a single, what the neighbors were asking for is either raise the wall, they're saying you can't raise the wall. You can't
You
just
can't,
add on
it costs
top.
money.
Or a single line of evergreen trees that grow to 30 foot on the west side on their property. I know that the truck drops are an issue of just dropping
Yeah,
trailers.
all night long, boom, boom, boom.
And I don't believe we have a sound ordinance like that, but I think we need to look into that.
The other thing is, they drop those as close to the residents. They had all that land to build on, but where they drop those trucks is right there, behind all our houses.
Right.
Yeah, I've been back.
It's a quality of life issue.
Oh,
And again, I'm trying something, I'm not sure what they're doing.
doing.
I have
I
a
say I have not slept through the night since that building went up. It woke up 2 or 3 times.
Well, I have a question or a suggestion. If we, as the township, could pay up front to get this resolved, and then we file something to get our money back from the developers, reimbursement, because we keep hearing this, and it needs to be addressed. And that's why I asked you, Mark. I mean, you're looking like that, but it could be something that we can look into.
How would we,
Hey,
they were passed, what's there, they passed.
I understand that. I'm not
So
talking
they're
about
not
what they
required to do
did back
anything.
then.
So we can
I'm just
force-
saying to fix the problem of the people over
The
there
only way
now.
that you can fix the problem is they want to build another building.
Right.
The only way they can build the other building is if they fix the problems they created with the first building.
And that's my discussion with them, that's the
only way
leverage.
that you can do that. Because, like he said, what they have is
It's
legal
approved.
now because it was approved.
I
But
understand.
they want more
But you have a lot of
quote-unquote
issues back here.
favors from you guys to build another building. But as far as the trash and stuff on the other side of Tollgate, there is no legal, we should be writing tickets. as a
Our
township,
zoning,
right?
our zoning inspector has contacted them, and they are moving quicker. If they don't move quicker, we're gonna have to go to the prosecutor and enforce.
We had a guy.
There's no reason they're still
We
there.
had a guy at the end of our road who had, Lynn's Road. He was a junk collector. He had all kinds of junk. They put an injunction on him and he was out of there in 30 days. They've had way too long.
Mr. Johnson, since you're the supervisor now, do you want to take care of that? Deal with Mr. Singleton and ensure those are,
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
thanks.
Alicia Zacher, 79 Trail East. On April 8th, I public records with some questions regarding transparency and then also some public records that I'm waiting for. I haven't gotten them yet. I called today and requested them again and said, what's the status of them? I haven't received them. I requested a public records request for the recording equipment that you turn on early, where that's kept and things like that. Those records, I think, should not be altered if you're going to record the township. On April 5th, on the meeting on YouTube, I didn't stay, but Julie Varian said she didn't have to add anything to add with regards to the fiscal, but then mentioned that Mrs. Niekamp, her trainer, was the most intelligent fiscal officer available. I did some public records checking on Ms. Niekamp. It's public records. I'm just going to refer to case text, Niekamp versus the Board of Embalmers Funeral, Judge Graham's decision. I also did a public records request to check on Bill Vance. I mean, this guy's just an applicant whose contract for services that he performed were violated, and as a result, he prevailed financially. The rest of it's all gossip. There's nothing on that guy. I mean, there's nothing criminal. And you're tearing him down, and you've already told 2 people before this meeting started. I heard you tell them. Why don't you just announce it if you're going to tell everybody that they're already forcing you to take them? This divisive behavior is exactly what they're talking about. I don't get on Facebook, despite what anybody else says. You won't find me on there, but you do talk, and that affects the rest of this township, and it really is, it's really what creates part of this divisiveness. And I really can't say enough that, you know, the little people, the trolls that you talk to that don't live in Etna, they don't pay the taxes here. We do. We live here. We pay. They can have their opinion on Facebook if they want to, but you should care about us. We're the ones that pay taxes here. It's our town. It doesn't matter what they have to say, but you take everything they say and they read it. You know, then they post things and say stuff about our neighbors. I mean, that's part of it. All that divisive behavior, Mark, it stems from you talking to your friends and putting it out there. I think it's not helping our board to work better together. We didn't have these problems before. Forget that other guy. This is what you have. This is our group, and we want our township to run right. We didn't come here before because nobody had to see it. But we see it in the paper 3 times, and the dispatch once, and the other paper. I want my public records as I requested, and I would appreciate it. You said you would send it over to Julie, and I never got back. So I'm calling to make sure I get them. Okay? Thank you.
All right, regarding public records requests, just to clarify to everybody, records requests are for documents and records, not questions.
You said transparency.
I'm just saying, and is that, I just want to be clear, is that your email, fofflibtards55 and 59 ctgc@gmail.com? Okay, is that not our fiscal officer's address and our neighbor?
I mean, do you own the numbers 55? Are you kidding me?
Cumberland Trail, okay,
Let
I'm
me
just,
ask you a question. How come you haven't sent me my public records requests, like I asked?
we are compliant.
Okay, but I just wanted public records requests on the administrator's job. You told me to ask her, but I sent it to my trustees, because that's what her job
And
is.
she's the
that I
keeper
want.
of the public records and response, and she keeps a log of these responses, and that's another one of the proper policies and procedures that wasn't followed before that we're
I don't know
implementing
what
now.
happened before. I'm asking today, though.
Right,
Do you
right.
have records for the recordings? 'Cause
That is
you
not
started
township
in
property,
2012.
that is not township property.
Then why do you start it so early? These
Okay.
questions are transparent.
I'm continuing that until we set up a proper live streaming, because I did that as a resident for, I believe, a year and a half.
Yes, and you started the recordings early. But yet you
While
play
I'm
them when
present.
they start at 6 o'clock.
So, thank you, you're well, you got 35 seconds if you want to
So
say.
you cut me off last time, keep it.
Is there anybody else? Oh, everybody gets up.
I'm Mike Wallace, I live on Smoke Road, and I'm here to express my extreme disappointment in this board, specifically Ms. McKee, Mr. Johnson. Ms. McKee, everything that Mark and Julie have done and tried to do to reverse of the mess that was left you people, you keep bucking him. Don't pass anything. I've just had enough. And with that being said, in our conversations before you were elected, you basically lied to everybody that voted for you. Now, some people are going to be mad about that, but that needs to be said. Just extreme disappointment, along with you too, Mr. Johnson. And quoting one of your Facebook posts, Ms. McKee, your outward behavior reveals where your heart is. Your heart ain't here.
I would be careful saying that because you just called me a liar. That's not true. I'm not what you just said, okay? But that's okay. It's okay. I have my own brain and I will make decisions. I'm sorry I won't be his rubber stamp. I'll never be that anybody's.
Good evening. Stephen Paul, 76 Nantucket Avenue. First, I'd like to digress, think back to March 29th, this year. At this particular meeting, I was in attendance, for all the trustees here in presence. And one of the items that was brought up on the agenda was to remove Mr. John Carlisle, former trustee, and the former treasurer, if I got that correct, from her that I believe to be their self-appointed positions here. Okay? Number one, the failure to act, discuss, or second a motion was a slap in the face to every voter in Etna Township. We voted in Ms. McGee and Mr. Evans to get rid of the corruption that preceded us here today. Now, why would I say these things? Serious accusations, kind of in a way, but the way I feel. So let me articulate. Number one, why would I say this? John Carlisle has repeatedly failed to represent the residents of Etna Township. You know, you were there the whole time, Mr. Johnson. You're still here. Hopefully that can be remedied. Okay. Attempted bribery of the Southwest Licking Water School District with $150,000 of COVID funds. All right. For developers' abatement for taxes was picked up by the Newark Advocate. This is out of COVID emergency funds. Why were they offering this? I don't know, Mr. Johnson, you were here. Don't answer right now, I got 5 minutes, but we can get back to that. Okay, all right, okay. This was brought up, an attempted fraud or attempted bribery is the same under law, whether it's state or federal. I'm not sure if I got the case number for the federal, but the complaint or the file number is on file with, well, let's see. It is currently on file for this attempted bribe with the General Accounting Office, the Department of the Treasury, the Inspector General, the OGI for this reference, and we also sent a special copy to the Inspector General for pandemic release. So everybody here now knows, it's in public record, that you can't deny that this is there. 2, there's a current lawsuit on with Mr. Carlisle in Southwest Licking Water and Sewer District over a position which he obtained in dubious or possibly unethical means. I don't know. There's a lawsuit ongoing. Okay? Training beats itself. Please note that the lawsuit was filed with the Ohio Supreme Court involving failure to provide Freedom of Information Act. Wasn't that just brought up? Oh, Mr. Johnson, you can speak to that. Didn't the township have to pay $10,000 in restitution under your leadership and John Carlisle's circa 2014? Wasn't that a wasn't that an Ohio Supreme Court decision? Oh, wait a minute, stop. It went to the Ohio Supreme Court. The case was filed. Unfortunately, it was settled out of court, and it went away. 4, questionable dealings with his good friend. We're still speaking about Carlisle. I believe there was questionable dealings, believe me, for reasons, with his good friend Charles Hayden. The transfer of property between the two, eventually the involvement of Licking County, okay, Newark, went through a developer and the sale of that property for $1.3 million. There's all kinds of interactions going on. I could list a lot more, but my time is limited. Okay, in the matter of Poldy versus Haiti rezoning, okay, John and Jeff did everything that they could to throw logs in the road to keep we, the people here, from exercising our constitutional rights and putting this up for a referendum. Okay?
That was your 5 minutes. So
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Thank
You can get us afterwards.
Oh, trust me, there'll be more coming up, especially with Mr. Vance. And I don't like your attitude.
Who cares if you don't like that?
I don't care.
You know what? I don't care.
You know what?
It don't matter. They love that because, yeah, that's okay. You bash me on social media too. It's fine. It's okay. A lot of evil.
Yes, you are.
Steve Perkins, 7352 Palmer Road. I just want to go on record and say this township needs a reality show. I haven't got a lot here. Just some general concerns. One is I would recommend that the board call the National Association of Parliamentarians at 1-888-627-2929. I was actually pleased to hear some reference to Robert's Rules of Order tonight. However, it's usually not a good idea for the people on the board to serve as their own parliamentarians. That usually turns out badly. As far as agenda items, as far as the administrator goes, it's my opinion, as long as it is term limited and a temporary condition, that having an administrator is better than not having one. I think that I did do some research on Mr. Vance myself. Everybody was really big on him until they weren't, which usually tends to point to some type of either major falling out of some sort, either in a political nature or in a legal nature. And not seeing anything largely in a legal nature, I suspect that it was largely a political falling out. As long as the general process of things is followed, which I have many concerns with process as far as how we deal with things, as far as public comment period, as far as motioning things forward. You make your case, put it to the public, and then vote on it. I'm tired of hearing about the previous board. We're over 4 months into this term. It needs to end. As far as the people behind me, I guess since we're addressing that too, y'all need Jesus. There is a whole lot of vitriol that do have, plenty of, and I'm an atheist by the way, but we still all need Jesus. I'm trying to bring a little bit of levity to this because frankly there needs to be some levity in this room because all you are wound way too tight. There's time enough in these meetings to get accomplished what we need to get accomplished. I by no means am ever afraid of speaking a contrary opinion. People have seen it very recently. I'm not opposed to taking an opposing view. Sometimes I'll take an opposing view just to take an opposing view. So I think that there's times where we ought to have comment period on stuff rather than it simply being a function of a particular board member wanting to get A, B, or C done. Ultimately you represent us. So our feedback, I would think, would be more critical than just whatever we've decided to blast on the most recent Facebook post on the community forums. So I understand there's some things, everyone's got an agenda they want to get done with it. They want to move as far forward as they can, as fast as they can. I do understand the previous board maybe not to been to a lot of people's liking, but the chance is now to move forward, and proper parliamentary procedure will help a lot because that's how they're called motions for a reason. They make meetings move forward. So with that, I will yield the balance of my time. I've always wanted to say that even though I'm not done.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Tark?
Tom Adder, 64 Gale Avenue, Etna, Ohio. First question, what the hell are you doing? I mean, we come in here, you're bickering over an agenda. What? Wasn't that coincidence? After 6 o'clock, oh, I want to change the agenda items. Come on, Mr. G. That stinks to high heaven. There's no excuse for that.
Okay.
Okay.
This is my turn tonight. That's fine.
No, it's not, Rosalind.
It is fine.
I voted for you myself.
Okay, thank you.
You sat on my front porch telling me,
You
this
said
is
that
the second
before.
time I said this, last meeting I said it also, promising me, oh, I'll work with everybody to get stuff
And
done.
I am working with everybody. Just because I won't be a rubber stamp, is that what it is? I'm working with everybody. I'm working.
Why can't
I'm
you
not
do
going
that?
to be a rubber stamp for anybody.
No,
I have my
agree.
own vote, Jeff, as well as Mark.
Yes.
We're not going to all vote the same and
Well,
agree
work
on the same
together.
thing. We are working together.
There's nothing
Yeah,
getting
we
done.
are working together.
Comprehensive plan has been on the agenda for how long? Administrator has been on the agenda for how long? Now, let's talk about the administrator. I don't know nothing about Mr. Vance, okay? So I'm not going
You're
to
on Facebook. I'm sure you do.
No, I don't. How would I
I'm
don't.
sure you're out there on Facebook reading it, like most people are.
I
You're on
try to
Facebook.
become knowledgeable of the
I
facts.
see you on there.
Now, the question is, as the lady brought up here, what are his deliverables? What is he going to bring to the table? Why? Is he going to go through the interview process?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to the board?
I'm talking to everybody,
Okay,
excuse me.
just want to make sure.
I'm talking to everybody.
Okay.
Excuse me. Is he going to go through the interview process? Is he going to go through the due process of being selected like everybody else? Has anybody voted on, I saw his outrageous rates. Who's going to pay for it? I'll tell you who we are, the taxpayers. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of money. Why can't we have a full-time administrator? Why is this still unresolved? Why can't you? Now, when I was here, I doggone cheerleaded you guys when you did something nice and right about the police, or excuse me, the deputies. You worked together. You had some valid arguments. You decided, okay, we'll get this through. Why can't that be done on everything? Okay, you have disagreements. You're all educated people. I mean, come on. Deputy, I'm going to say something. You're running a shit show. And that's not meant as an insult. I'm sorry, Ms. McKee. That's not an insult. That's a fact. And we're all tired
So
of
you
it.
just called me out again.
I did not. I'm talking to all three.
Just make sure.
I apologize
Just
to
say
you.
my name again, okay?
I'm addressing that to all of you. Let me clarify. That's to all three of you. Okay, for the record. Work together. No, it's not my people.
That you bring in here to stir up. It's not.
Point of order, this is a comment period, not a debate period.
I mean, I'm just a concerned citizen. That's all I am. You know? There's no reason to not work together. My God, you guys make our U.S. Congress look like a piece of cake. This is even worse. We're not even talking Republicans and Democrats. Come on, get off your asses and start doing the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tart.
Yes, sir.
Judy Couchmeyer, 29 Roma Court, Southwest, or otherwise known as Amazon West. So, all right, I was here a month ago and did speak about being invited by the previous, our previous zoning person to be on the Comprehensive Planning Committee as a citizen advisory. And I'm still up for that, by the way. Been a member, I lived in Etna Township for 47 years, so may or may not qualify for that volunteer position, but I think it's necessary. I've also heard about this administrator position, and under the circumstances, it appears that a full-time administrator is what's needed here. I've heard the comments about it. I was appalled at the second meeting that it was where administration was talking about the administrator position and says, have these people, and when people were invited to send in their resumes for this position and were not given the courtesy of an interview. That's appalling. And then we had Mr. Johnson that hadn't even read the resumes. That is that speaks to our township as being really less than terrible. That's about all I can say on that. I want to apprise you of Senate Bill 52, which means that, and that was passed by the Senate last fall, that will not allow for things like is happening in Hartford Township with the solar farms, another euphemism, calling it a farm. In Ohio, they've been able to skirt all of the zoning issues and be able to go under the guise of a farm. Now, as a result of Senate Bill 52, we will have a commissioner and a trustee from one of the, where these companies come in and start buying up people's farmland for the purpose of these things, that they will be on the site board. And right now, I'm not sure which one of these representatives I would want to be representing Etna Township if someone came in to rape our township even more. So yes, I do address that you need to get it together. You need to work together. And when someone comes here to speak, and I've been coming, I haven't been to these meetings for a while, but I was a regular attendee for many, many years. And so this is a time for citizens to speak. There is no debate. And that's why you three get to sit there and just listen. And it makes it frustrating for the residents because all we get to do is talk. And many times we don't get the answers to those questions. But that's the way it is. Isn't that interesting? Sometimes I know more than you people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Abdul Mar, 10141 Tollgate Road.
Your name again, I'm sorry.
10141.
No, your name.
Abdul Mar.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone brought up some really great points, especially FedEx. I also live close to FedEx and can hear the trailers dropping every evening, and I'm across the 70. Another concern I had, yes, I'm on Facebook. I've seen the things about Bill Vance. My question is, I've tried to do my own research, but, I'm just kind of shocked that he's being still considered from all the accusations. I just don't feel like that needs any more baggage than we already have. I don't know the validity of any of the accusations, but I read the news articles about the misconduct and especially the suicide note. That was very shocking. But I know Burkholder, I feel he's very, I'm sorry.
Did you looking at me? So it's three of us up here. I'm just saying, looking at me. Yeah.
And you're shaking your head.
No, I'm not. I'm just,
okay.
I never shook
All
my
right.
head. I'm just go back and watch the video. I'm not shaking my head. That's not true.
But Mr. Burkholder, I feel he's a great candidate, and he's also a township resident. I would hope a resident would get first look over anyone else, but I really like the answer. Why Mr. Vance, with all the baggage he has and all the accusations that have been put against him. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Chuck Bundy, 10254 Tollgate Road. There's been a lot of good comments here, and really, I'm really upset about the business on Tollgate Road. FedEx has been in there since December, and we still have a blight that nothing's been done for it. The reason I'm up here is that, number one, this forum is supposed to be for the comments from us, not comments from you.
Okay.
And it's very unprofessional, it's very rude, and it has no place at this board. Ms. McKee, you ran on a platform of change. Changed it in the township administration. But yet, I've not seen change come from you. What I've seen is voting against or being against almost anything that comes up. I don't expect much from Mr. Johnson because he was here before. So I expected you to at least to work together since you ran on a platform of change. I believe that's all I have to say. I'm just, you know, we could stand up here, all of us could stand up here and say, you guys need to work together. Well, we've been saying that now since January. Straighten it out.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? Public comments? Yep.
Excuse me, Jeff Hall, 79 Roman Court, across the street. I just want to make a comment on the administration position. So when you hire this person, make sure they have a very good legal background. Don't bury you in legal expense if you don't get it together. Represent us, not yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
John Kennard, 10785 Palmer Road. I guess after observing all these township meetings we have, the old saying was time for change or change needed. I tried to go online to find out a job description for trustee. All the heat you guys been taking tonight. I don't know why you fight so hard to get it. So I went to find a job description and requirements for the job. I can't find that online. I found it, the administrator. Come to find out the past administrator only made $60,000 a year. Now we're trying to pay over $100,000 a year for an administrator. Those duties say for the administrator, supervise the road crew and the secretary and day-to-day operations. From what I got on a trustee was the same thing. So it's like you guys are getting double dipped there. Somebody's paying to have the road crew supervised by the administrator and the trustees. I tried to find out what the term was, how long your term was. I think that change needed. You guys should not be allowed to be in that seat no more than 2 consecutive sessions, two terms. If you're a good trustee, you can bow out and come back on the next time and serve 2 more terms, but you should not be able to go forever. I'm going to come to Mr. Johnson's defense tonight. I think he should have been the president because he had the experience and have been around. Now, he's been involved in things that people don't think he should have been involved with. There's 2 more new people that could change that. But you were all voted as trustees. That's it. Trustees. The president was voted by 1 vote and himself. That position should be voted in by the people, by the residents. When we come, you say, tonight we're going to elect officers for our new trustees. Come to the township and vote. Come to the meeting. So we all come to the meeting, we cast a vote, and that's how it comes out. But president and vice president got put in position by 1 vote and themselves. So you guys kind of only got to blame yourself for what's going on. It seems like one person is the commander-in-chief. It's my way or the highway. I'll come to your defense. I won't say names, but I'll come to your defense. You know, just because I put something out there doesn't mean that has to be the way it is. We can all talk, we can take a vote, and if it doesn't go, then it doesn't go. No hand gestures, no eye blinking, just, it's over. My idea wasn't good, I guess, because you two voted me down, or you guys didn't go ahead and give me a second. I'm fine with that. Let's go on. We gotta have change. Go on, quit talking about the past, quit digging holes. If something happened in the past, the law will take care of the past. You guys can't change the past. You can only change the future. But after I did check into some of the stuff, I find that you guys have 2 meetings a month. That's 24 meetings a year. You get over $20,000 a year, so you basically make about $1,000 a meeting, which is a pretty good gig. I thought, well, maybe I might be interested in something like that. Then come to find out that I think you might get free health insurance for the rest of your life after you serve a term. Now, whether that's true or not, I've heard that, but I don't know. But I thought, well, that's a pretty good gig, because if you're a self-employed person, health insurance is pretty expensive right now. So that is another reason to do what you do. But I just found out that, you know, that if you think if you say, well, we just don't come to meetings, we do other jobs, we do other duties. Well, if you're part-time, you're still making over $20 an hour. If you divide that out, you know, part-time employee is 1,040 hours a year. So if you put in 1,000 hours and you get over 20,000, that's pretty good. All right.
Thank you.
So I hope that brought something up.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Steve Fordyce, 10568 Lens Road.
What's your name again? I'm sorry.
Steve Fordyce.
Steve what?
Fordyce.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll start out by saying I'm not on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account, so I don't really care about Facebook. What I do care about is we come to these meetings. My wife and I have been coming since January. We talk to you two, voting for you two. If I could do it over, I wouldn't have voted for you.
That's fine.
And that's my opinion. I feel like you're sheep and wolves clothing, or wolf and sheep clothing, I'm sorry. I think you have really pulled the wool over the people that in this township's eyes, and it's sad. We need to work together. People come up here and we talk, we speak to you. Here's a question. Do you listen? Do you hear us? Or is it what Rosalind wants, what Jeff wants, what Mark wants? What is it? Feel free to go ahead and answer that question.
I don't understand what you're saying there, sir. Because I won't.
Then just listen to the question. Okay. You hear what everybody just heard.
Absolutely, I listen. I write notes. Yeah, I listen. Absolutely.
You
And
go back
then
and
he has it
reflect
recorded, so you go back and watch it.
Because your
Yeah.
decisions, the things that you do, don't reflect what you've heard, anything people in the room are saying.
But you have to understand, you guys aren't the only one in Etna in this room, okay?
I understand.
So,
But
you
know
and you
what?
have to realize,
We're the
I was,
ones here.
well, it doesn't,
We're the ones here,
listen,
Rosalind. We're the
listen.
ones here.
Okay,
Bringing up
I'll
our
let you talk.
concerns, our issues.
I'll let you talk.
Please do. Because it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
Okay.
I expect nothing from you, Jeff. I don't know you. I didn't know Mark prior to a month or two before I voted for him. Met you the day of the election. Talked to you in the parking lot at the polling place. Felt like you were on board. This township needs change. I've only lived in it for 2.5 years. My wife and I invested everything here. We built what we thought was our forever home. We're questioning that. We don't want warehouses everywhere. We have an industrial park. Let's build the warehouses in the industrial park, not
Just
in
to let you
everybody's
know,
backyards.
They were here before I got in the seat.
I understand.
Okay, just want to
But
clarify that.
we have other things that want to come here.
Okay,
Let's do right by our
I
residents.
understand that. I agree with you.
So let's not have it that it's your personal vendetta because of the Facebook crap. I don't care about Facebook. All I hear from you every meeting, I've been to almost everyone since January, is how, that's what's said on Facebook. How many times have you done it tonight? You should start taking note for every time you make that comment. Put a little hash mark on it.
Well, I wonder who's out there on Facebook talking.
It's not me,
One of our
'cause I don't have it.
trustees, and I have to make a disclaimer right now. Mr. Evans is not representing the township on Facebook, nor is he representing me. No, you didn't say that, you're right, but I'm just making a disclaimer out
Can
there.
he have his comment?
Go ahead, sorry.
So again, I don't have Facebook, and I don't care about Facebook. I think social media is honestly one of the worst things that happened to this country. It's going to be our downfall. Morally, ethically, in all walks of life, it's terrible. It really is. It may have its place here and there, but our business for the township is not. That's not a place for it. These meetings are where we come to express our concerns and our thoughts to you.
Okay.
We collectively, as the Etna Township residents, vote to put you in those seats. You wanted to be there. Otherwise, you wouldn't have ran. We put you there in good faith that you would deliver on what you said. You aren't doing it. I don't know what Jeff promises. He didn't run. He was already here. Fine. That'll likely change when his term is up. But we need change, and we need to follow through with the things you said you were going to do. Because what I see is it's a personal vendetta. You're upset because of his comments on Facebook with Mark, and so because of that, the votes are locked, or you outvote Mark on stuff that doesn't make sense. The administrator needs to be full-time, but it does not need to be this gentleman, Mr. Van. I think that's just bringing a lot of baggage and drama this township does not need.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 6 seconds to spare. Anybody else? Mr. Albrecht?
Yes, sir. Alan Albrecht, 78, or at least. I just had a couple questions. First of all, I get what folks are saying. They feel kind of frustrated that the board doesn't get along. I understand that. Is that better, ma'am?
Yes, thanks.
I'm sorry. So I understand that having business and stuff like that, you're not going to agree to get along, but I think overall you guys are collectively, especially Roz, Jeff, Mark, I mean, you guys are trying to work things out. Sometimes stuff comes to a head in the meeting. I'm not angry at any of you guys. I did have a couple questions on the deputy stuff. If we're bringing on new deputies, they're not doing a great job, but I'm already paying for that with my taxes to Lincoln County. Included with that is emergency response. So why am I paying through my township tax? You know what I'm saying? Why are we doing that? It's already required for Lincoln County to provide that. So I just had a question. The calls for service don't meet that. Yeah, we have 6,000 calls for service, but let's look at what those calls for service are. I don't think it justifies bringing on additional deputies. I'm just wondering how you guys came to that conclusion. And then you're going to use ARPA funding for that? Is that in direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic? You can answer that.
Those are a lot of expenditures for the ARPA funds that were opened up after the first year.
So which caveat, which section are you using of the ARPA funds?
All, it's a qualified expense.
Under which section of the authorized expenditures? Do you know?
We could get that to you.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I have it.
yeah,
I
you
can
have
email
it
it
off
to
the head, ma'am, I understand. And the other thing was any type of vetting done on Ms. Nykamp prior to her coming in here to Etna Township? No?
I did.
So you're,
I spoke to her, interviewed, and spoke to others that are familiar with her
so you're
work.
aware that she had a court case against her, that she altered documents? You're aware of that?
No, I don't know what you're.
Oh, okay, I'll send it to you. But that's all I have, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Public comments? Going once? Going twice? So, all right. Oh, you got one? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm Deb Hughes. I live at 129 Pebble Creek Drive. And as far as the administrator position, I know before you weren't working together to like interview and go through the process and vet them. And then it seems like just out of the air, you come up with this Vance guy. Was anything vetted on him previously? Was he interviewed?
You want me to respond?
Yeah.
I have not spoken to him. He's refused to reply to my request to come in tonight or even discuss on the phone. So I have not had the opportunity. I asked that he be present here tonight, so I figured they would try to force his contract through, and I don't believe he is here.
That doesn't seem like the way to do things. That's not the way to handle township business. I'm just flabbergasted that that's what's happening. And you all better think about what you're doing, because that's not for the good of this township. Not at all. Thank you.
And I agree with you. That's why I've been fighting to do this properly. We still have administrator candidates that haven't been interviewed, that have offered to work part-time, full-time, without a contract end date at will. So if you don't like them the first week, fire them. And they refuse to even discuss it. So I appreciate your comments. Now, is there anybody else? Once, twice, 3 times. Nope. Public comments are closed. Now we'll move to announcements and trustee comments. Ms. McKee, do you have any announcements or trustee comments?
Yeah, I think since she didn't put the parks on there or the normal, some of the stuff we usually have on here, but I just want to let you guys know that the cemetery, we had a burial last Friday, which was Good Friday, so we had a burial over there, and it was $1,500 that was paid to the township for that burial. So, just want to get that out there since I'm under cemeteries.
And just parks, usually those are first meeting of the month.
But I just want to make sure that it doesn't matter.
That's why it wasn't on the
Yeah,
agenda.
yeah.
Again, I asked you if you wanted to have anything on the agenda, you did not.
Well, we just did it under comment, so that's fine.
Joe, you go. I've got a couple. Just to kind of go back, like I said, I was elected to bring forth change, and I've been trying to do that. One thing, touching back, Ms. McKee, you presented, you wanted a cell phone on February 15th and said you were going to bring back a policy on that. You said you didn't want it on multiple agendas. Is that still something you're pursuing?
Yeah,
or?
we're working on a policy, yeah.
Okay.
So once I get that out there, I'll bring it up, and then I'll have some 3 different vendors that I need to check out between T-Mobile, Verizon, and I forget the other one that's maybe out there.
Well, I think the policy should come.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. We'll have the policy, and then we'll go look at the vendors. That's exactly what I said.
And my only comment about that is I think it's important that residents be able to contact trustees for just questions, discussions. I noticed that you pulled your cell phone number off the website. I would encourage you either to get that cell phone policy in place soon if you don't want to give out your cell phone number, but I don't know if you're just relying on them calling the township or taking the message and then get back to them. But I think open communication with the residents is important. So I would encourage you to get that cell phone policy in place if you want to do that. Second, non-response from Mrs. McKee and Ms. Johnson regarding requesting an interview for our administrators that have not been interviewed. I've spoken to one. She has great experience, and again, flexibility to do full-time, part-time, 1-2 days, no contract length term. And Mr. Johnson, you didn't even look at a resume last time. It's been about a month now. I've asked, I think, 7 times for a response, yes or no, and I didn't get a response from either trustee. I don't think that's how we should administer this township. And I just don't understand why both of you would not simply respond yes or no. And why wouldn't we try to interview them before this meeting like I had asked? It'd be a simple process, but again, you guys seem fit to just shove through Mr. Vance at all costs and ignoring some great candidates. Jersey Township just hired their administrator, Rob Platt. He was one that was going to apply for this position but decided not to. With all the commotion on here, flip-flops, and then their second, it was between two people. The other one you guys just dismissed wholeheartedly. So I think we need to interview these before any action is taken on a possible contractor, especially a problematic one. The other question is, on that contractor, I've reached out to Mr. Vance numerous times without any response. Now, this is a contractor that you two are proposing works with the township, with the fiscal officer, with the trustees. Is he only going to listen to you two and ignore me, as he has? He will not even have a discussion. And I asked him to be here present tonight because I figured you guys would try to force through his contract tonight. And again, it was placed on my desk an hour before when I walked in here. It's not proper administration. Again, the township is going to be worse off for it. And again, don't we want to support our fiscal officer? We have a current contractor that's assisting her fixing the terrible mess that she was left by the prior fiscal officer. I know, Mr. Johnson, you disregard the prior audit and the condition of the books, but Ms. Berry has put in numerous hours. She's in here all the time, the weekends, weeknights, trying to fix this, dealing with the ARPA funds, the CARES Act funds. We've got a single-year audit coming up. We need to ensure that we support her. Again, I walked in here without any transition help whatsoever, and it was hard. And we should not do that to Julie. Again, that contractor will cease work with us the minute Mr. Vance is hired due to her past relationship and working with him. This is my comments, please. You have your opportunity. So I believe we should support our fiscal officer. One of the candidates that has yet to be interviewed said that she would not come work for us unless it was a unanimous decision by all trustees, because she was working for all trustees. And you're trying to push through a candidate for consultant that is vehemently opposed by myself, won't even respond to my communications, and is problematic with the fiscal officer's office. So I think you should really consider what you're doing here. And then, Mr. Johnson, the status of dangerous curve at Linz and Palmer, you took that over on March 15th. Is there any update on that?
Went by there, the residents put rocks down the driveway on their side, keep the cars from going through there. Not rocks that would probably kill people, but rocks big enough to slow them down. I'm just setting up that by the house. Looks like it's another did some ditching around that same ditch over there, off to the side of it. Looks like the problem's taken care of. There's nothing we could do other than what we had done.
Did you speak to the engineer?
No.
But you didn't speak to the homeowner?
We know what you did. We know it was already up.
Russell, this is my comment period, please. Okay, I don't think that's satisfactory. If you're concluded with that, I guess I'll take that back and deal with the homeowners and engineer and all that. This has been a month.
Did you know they put rocks there?
Boulders, yeah, but that straight shot's still up that driveway. We were talking rumble strips, we were talking, do you want me to take it back over? Or it seems like we drove by, yeah, it's done and that's all you're going to do. I'm just asking because I want to do more for the residents.
I don't know what else you could do for them, really. I mean, rumble strips, I don't think are an option there. The signage is already there.
Okay, but I was talking with the engineer, and that's why I forwarded you the emails so you can continue that conversation with them. But I'll take that back and deal with the homeowner there because it is an ongoing concern with them. Mrs. McKee, again, on March 15th, took the stormwater protection plan with the Licking County Soil and Water. Is there any update on that?
No update on it.
Are you going to complete? That's one thing we have to complete.
Yeah, we'll complete it, yeah.
Do you have a timeline?
When I get to it. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, yeah, I have that on my agenda to take care of within a week because it's, I'm doing a lot with this, what is it?
Okay, please, from the gallery.
No, I'm working on
It is
it.
something that
Yep, I have it.
we're deficient in that. And
Yep.
we're required to do that, and it's very important. I mean, I encourage you to speak with Joe Vargas.
Yep.
Out there, and again, if you won't do it, can't do it, I'll take
It's
it
not,
back.
I said that, Mark.
It's been a month, and
Yeah,
again,
well, I've been working on the contract as well, okay?
all right. And then I'd also like to bring up documentation of policy and procedures. I've asked our secretary to come up with, we have nothing listing how we do things. People, and that's the problem we had with when I took office, all that knowledge left because nothing's documented. We need to create how the website's updated, how emails are sent out to all the residents, how calendars updated, how nothing's documented. It's all in our secretary's head. And if something happens to her, if she's not available or whatever, somebody else needs to be able to go through that binder, okay, email this, do that. Why hasn't that been done to date? And it really doesn't matter why, but we need to do it now. I asked Laura to do that. She said she spoke to you about it. You're now the supervisor. Are you going to get that implemented? Because we need to be more proactive than reactive. We can't wait like the security contractor left. That was the pseudo father-in-law of the last trustee. Without passwords, without access. I was able to get into the system, reset the password, and now I provided our fiscal officer how to log in, what the password is, what type of system, what the capabilities are, so she has it. I believe we need to do that for our network, for our emails, for our policies. Is that something that you can work with her on? Because for the betterment of the township, we can't be left,
When did you request this from?
That was like a week ago, but I've been asking for that stuff from the beginning of change. We need to change and document how things are done.
And right now, she's so far behind because these meetings are so long, I told her there's more important than that at this point. So we can cut on those minutes and everything else that she's having to do.
But again, I had asked her when I was the supervisor, if you need more help, let me know and get more help. These things are critical because if something happens, she wins the lottery and goes, not saying she would, we're stuck.
Jeff, can I say something? Mark, you did not ask me for that prior to Jeff being. You did not ask me to outline all that. You just
I've
said
asked
that a
for
week
policies
ago.
and procedures.
You just said that last week.
Laura, please.
No, Mark, please, don't mislead all these people. You just asked for that last week.
Since I came in, I asked you how you do things, how you do this, and I know you've been busy. I know you've been, that's all I'm saying.
Mark, you just asked me for that last week, and Jeff and I talked about it, and I'm behind on minutes, and I had to do a bunch of public records requests. I had a BCA
Laura.
hearing that had to have notices sent out, and you're misleading these people. That's why I was asked to be here tonight.
Laura, I've been asking for proper policies and procedures to be documented since I've come in, that we can't change Jeff's words, where we can't just come in and change everything. And again, if you think
Mark,
I
for your
misstated it.
information, I do have a list of stuff that was given to people to cover me. That's not what you asked for the other day.
Okay.
You asked for how do you send out agendas.
Okay.
I will get with Laura.
I'm saying, I apologize if it came out the wrong way, but we need to document these things so not one person has it and anybody can come to it and say, okay, if Jeff wants to get something out, Jeff can flip, and here's the list. So that's what I'm saying. So I appreciate that. I think it's for the betterment of the township. Park activities. I mean, this past weekend I held an Easter egg hunt for our civic association. Are we planning on doing anything like that at the park for our residents, or
Not for Easter, that's over.
any activities in the park?
Well, maybe, well, just to let you know, you mentioned, because you sound like angry, Mark, and then you like you're getting us. That has to stop today, okay? Because you're not getting, that's what you're, no, you listen to me, okay? We have to plan things, but when you're planning things in these parks, there's legal things that goes behind all that as well. You don't just say, oh, we're just going to have something in the park. There's other things going on.
Ms. McKee, it was a simple question. Are you planning
But there is
on
an event
activities?
that's coming up, well, not me personally, have not put anything together in the park. We're too busy trying to get this stuff on the agenda taken care of. But I know on June 9th, there is somebody that comes to the park yearly, this church, they do an activity out there. That's the only thing on the park right now. I'm sorry? Who? Oh, Mr. Leonard, yeah, can we go ahead to the,
Well, I've got a couple other things for them.
Yeah, Mr. Leonard needs to speak, because he's,
You mean
here.
Mosher?
I mean, Mosher, Bill Mosher.
Do you want to speak and then I can continue my comments?
Not really, because we don't want to
Okay,
be
well, I'll
all night.
continue my
So you
comments.
can come in, you can come up and speak, Mr.
I will continue my comments then after Mr. Lozier, correct?
First, he needs to at least speak, because you have him on the agenda.
Then I will
He needs to
continue
speak.
my
He has to
comments
leave.
afterwards. Mr. Lowe? Mr. Lozier, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I hope this is a little more boring, because it's just highway work. And I'm representing the Lincoln County Transportation Improvement District. We had a improvement project planned and initiated under the last administration for Pike Street. The intention of the project is to reconstruct the pavement, provide curbs and gutters and sidewalks on the eastern portion of Pike Street down to the stream, which is right before the church, and then for a similar distance to the west. Phase 1 would be east, phase 2 would be west. We're designing the entire project all at once. The township is paying for the design. The TID is managing the project. There has never been a plan to pay for construction, and I've been working with Roslyn on finding funding sources for construction. Yesterday we had a meeting with Morsey to pursue federal funds. I was surprised several months ago when I applied for federal funds to find out that Pike Street, the national road, was not on the federal aid system. So there's a process for that too, and it had to be on the federal aid system at one time. Who knows when it got taken off? It could have, I asked yesterday, and it could have been years ago. It could have been when 40 was rerouted around the city. It could have been when the county engineers took it off, because right before I was county engineer, this was a county road. When I was deputy engineer, it became a township road. But anyhow, the good news is Roslyn and I had a very favorable conversation with Morpsey. They acted like it was a simple thing to do to put it back on the federal aid system. There's some criteria. It involves the importance of the road and the use of the road. They pointed out to me, which I hadn't even thought of, that when the TID constructed 310 out here and widened it to 5 lanes, we changed the access to Columbus Street and South Street. Columbus Street has no access to 310. South Street is right in and right out, so Pike Street becomes more important. We put a traffic signal there, so it is elevated to the importance of being a federal aid route. So that's step 1. Step 2 is the actual application for federal aid, and that starts in May, and Roslyn helped me out here.
July is the training. May is the training.
Yeah.
July is more, it's the application. There's a deadline at the end of May. I mean, end of July, and then there's the final application is in September, in September.
And they sounded like they could make this a federal aid route prior to the application. So what that means is you can get 80% funding from the federal government. But I'm a little harsh in saying this, but I'll say it anyway, that going for federal money is a little bit like making a deal with the devil. They tie some red tape to it. In this case, they mentioned the desire to make it bicycle accessible, which is great. I'm not against bicycles, obviously. But that means either you put a 10-foot pathway beside the road, or you put share roads, meaning you share the cars and the bicycles share the route. I was thinking about this tonight, and this is the first time that we've introduced this project to the public. It's getting advanced to the point where it's time to share it with the public. You don't like to go to the public before you have any information, because you don't have any answers. I think I told the board, or Rosalind at least, that there was a concern about a conflict with the water line on the north side. It looks like we can miss that. The question is, do you want a 10-foot pathway next to the road in a tightly constrained neighborhood? It may not be the most desirable for the people, but again, it's not a bad thing to have a pathway to get around on. But I think what we should do is show some exhibits of different alternatives and bring them back to this meeting, or a special session for a public involvement meeting. If we do go for federal funds, that's a requirement anyhow. So federal funding means 80%. They'll fund 80% construction. That means we need to find the 20% match. We earlier estimated that this phase would be $1 or $1.2 million because the construction inflation is insane right now. ODOT's actually canceling the projects, I understand, because of inflation. So let's say it's a $2 million project from here to the east. The share would be $800,000. You can go for a public works grant. Townships can get $400,000 or $500,000 for that. Other sources we could go for. There's some pathway grants out there too. Point is, there was no alternative that the township didn't have to pay for the design. That's always required, just so you can rest assured of that. And we knew that going in. These funding agencies require that somebody pays for the design. The other point I will make that when I was reading through the notes and the budget that I prepared earlier for the project, the GID did pitch in some money for this project. And most of it was excess bond proceeds from the 310 project. We checked with our legal counsel and made sure that it was appropriate. That when you bond a project like we did out there, you can't guess the exact number, so we had some excess funds. A lot of that we returned and reduced the term of the bonding, but we still had some money that was set aside with a very narrow use. It had to be touching State Route 310, that this project does. So we took the opportunity to use that.
What's the total cost? At the last meeting for Refugee Road, it was mentioned went from $4 million to $6 million possibly, the total cost.
I don't know who said that. We had a 25% contingency as it was on that.
So you're still saying $4 million with the 20, and that includes 25% contingency? Or?
Are you talking about Refugee?
No, I'm talking about Pike Street.
Refugees. Yeah.
You're talking about Pike Street?
Pike Street.
So I think we initially estimated for this phase 1.2 million.
Oh, for the complete, I was told at the meeting 4 million, now it's about 6 with increased costs, yeah.
Oh, did Scott Haynes say that? I don't know, I can't speak to that. I'm not saying that's pretty crazy. This is 2,000 feet.
Well, that's what my concern's always been, how we're paying for it, what the design is. Is there any impact on, you said the initial, I saw the prints for the design. If we go towards the 10-foot sidewalk, does that kind of throw a lot of that design out? We're going to have a lot more design fees in there?
And this is a good question because Rosalind and I discussed it yesterday. They did not blink an eye about starting to look at these alternatives. We got them early enough that they didn't get too deep into design, that they can change some things. We have a lump sum contract with them. So if they want a modification to the fee, it's going to be tough for us to agree to that.
Okay. That was my concern of making sure we don't go through it and then, we've got to do some changes, or the board wanted to move it a different way.
We got an amount of money from the township. The fee was less. We also put in $10,000 for environmental investigation. I don't know if we'll need that. I don't know if we'll need any of that because ODOT, there aren't really any environmental impacts because we're not planning on getting any right of way, which is something important to disclose publicly. People are concerned if you're going to be in their front yards. So far, we're not going to be acquiring right of way from anybody. There's 80 feet of right of way out there. So when you don't get right of way, you typically don't have environmental impact. So there's little money to be saved. You might be able to save a little money on that. But right now, I'm not anticipating any more design costs.
Well, I guess we could have a workshop maybe regarding this. And I was looking for more just 30,000 foot.
Well,
overall where we're at with the budget payment.
I think it was time to get more detail because just to explain to you where we are and what's necessary. I still say the project is great. It's a beautification project. It fixes bad pavement conditions and drainage. The vision has been to kind of create a village center here that could attract some commercial and retail. At least, the last group said that. I've always said that good urban renewal projects start with highway work, and certainly new pavement and curbs and sidewalks and so forth. We're going to have nice highway lighting. We're going to have crosswalks, whether they be concrete or stamped concrete, some decorative.
Is the High Point project contributing anything towards this as far as their impacts of the High Point, the Sabatino property behind Speedway, the community there? Because they are exiting out onto Pike Street.
Oh, this might be a question for the engineer. I don't know how far along that is, but you're talking about a relocation with the Pike Street intersection down here. I heard that.
Jeff, or you? Because you guys passed it. Are you familiar?
Well, they talked about that, doing it in conjunction with this project when they did that. It was supposed to be at the same time, so that it would all be done and all be nice and
I'm hoping we
processed.
can pursue any revenue, any cost from that.
And Jeff, do you know, is there still going to be a connection to 40?
For down Pike Street? Yes.
It would still be connected.
Just not there where it is now.
Okay.
They were going to come straight, there was a road going to come out, they were going to bypass it around there, so it didn't have that weird turn right into the street right there, so.
You see, I certainly think that some of this, when we use federal money, it requires a public process.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's it. I can show you all the technical drawings you want, but I think what I'm going to tell, with the board's, approval, I'm going to tell the consultant to hold on so that we can get these various alternatives on the table so that you guys can make an informed decision. Right now, we're looking at 7-foot sidewalks. That's a standard that ODOT uses. But now we'd be talking about maybe a 10-foot pathway and some other adjustments that I don't want to get into. But I suppose if the three of you get together, that is a public session. But it's going to come time where it's a big decision. It is your village center here, so.
Okay, appreciate it. That's why I want to have this conversation.
Thanks for letting me butt in.
Well, thank you for coming. We had you on the agenda. I know you had to go, but thank you.
Thanks,
thank
man.
you, Bill.
Enjoy your passage. Thank you. Just real quick, a couple other little things on my trustee comments. The Reynoldsburg annexation. I spoke with their attorneys. We're going to have. They've requested a executive session at our next meeting or a special one, depending on how things progress. So. I'll let you guys know, otherwise we'll just tag it on the next meeting. I did bring up to Mr. Singleton, we've got that pad out underneath the bulletin board. There's just a little paver right there. I'd like to put concrete in there, extend that sidewalk. I can do it. I've done concrete since I was in high school. I can help Bubba and then pour it up down next there. Just pour a little pad. You guys for that, putting a pad there. Make it a little safer for people reading our bulletin board.
Yeah, you guys got one little pad out there. Who poured the other one by the, Butch Brown? When he redid the thing where the car ran through it, is that when he did it? Okay.
I can do it at no cost, just material cost. I've got to make sure I can bring, we don't have to hand mix it. It's a tiny little pad. So save the township some money and kind of make it a little safer for people. So we got that. And then still lot split on the Parkland. Rosen, do you know the status on that? Because I know Snyder's been contacting me, he's getting nervous.
Yeah, he said he talked to you, but he talked to me after he talked to you.
Okay.
So they're moving forward on, it was the waters, the line for that, so he said they were moving forward. He
That's
was gonna
separate
talk
from
to-
lot split.
Okay, so that's separate from that one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Because
that's,
he's concerned about, because we've got, I guess, got a deadline, and he wants to make sure that we meet that, so if you could follow up on that. And that's all I've got there, so if you guys don't have any other comments, we'll go to old business comprehensive plan, citizen advisory committee. I met with Jim Leonard, and we went over the initial things. I presented to you the invitation to apply for the Etna Township Comprehensive Plan Update Citizens Advisory Committee information. I also emailed that to you prior. He provided this with St. Albans information. I went through and changed it for Etna Township, just so we could deal with it today. He's proposing, and we both spoke about it, that we would like to have these back from those interested in serving on this committee of 11 to 15 people by May 2nd. So that's why I wanted to get this kind of approved today. And then our first meeting would be May 11th at 6 p.m. Meetings are 2 hours, as described in here. It'd be on the second Wednesday of each month. So if you guys have any questions, have you guys reviewed this?
I had one comment about it. How much are we looking, I'm sorry.
The Licking Heights
Heights
School District?
That are,
Not very, just a small little corner by Refugee. And then there's a couple farms, so maybe it would impact. What he had was 2 ex officio, or 3 of them from like fire district, from one school and another entity. I didn't think those were appropriate. So I put Southwest Licking School District, which is the majority of our township. But technically, there is a small portion with Licking Heights. So that's why I put it in there, if you don't feel that's appropriate for them to be represented. They're non-voting, it's just to give their voice in that matter. It's probably like 4 parcels.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that area, so. I just didn't figure, I couldn't figure out why they were part of that.
I figured invite them even if they're a small part, they're a part of our township. So, are you thinking to take them out, or? My thing is to invite them if they want to participate, they can participate. If they don't, they don't.
My opinion, is Southwest Licking Schools District of the township.
The majority they have.
I mean, I think that's what we should do for the most part, but that's.
So do you say to remove Licking Heights?
I mean, I would give all 8 to the Southwest Licking School District.
Well, both of them are not voting, it's just giving their opinion. So they're just there to say, hey, if you guys consider this, do you consider that? That's me with. Rawson, do you have any input on that?
no, I looked over, it's fine.
Yeah. Do you have any input on what Jeff is suggesting, removing Licking Heights High School from the ex officio members?
I just rather see more participating in the water and sewer district in there, the fire department in there, even the police for that matter.
So do you
get Licking Heights? I mean, not saying it's Licking Heights, but I'm just saying that.
So would you want to change it to Southwest Licking, add water and sewer, a representative there, or even our representative, Trent Step? And we don't have to specify what water, sewer, you said fire department?
Well, I'm just saying other things, yeah. I mean, I don't think the fire department is a non-voting, definitely.
Well, we're looking for people who put input besides the residents.
Fire department would be good to add.
So Southwest Licking, water, sewer, fire department.
And take out Licking Heights completely.
Okay, I disagree, but all right. You two want to take Licking Heights out?
Can I be out of order?
Go ahead, we can listen.
Shelley Marie Potch, Royalty Drive, Preserve for Royal Oaks. Half of my neighborhood's in Licking Heights School District.
They are?
You're not, and we're not on Refugee Road.
Okay. See, we need to know that. See, that's, Thank you, Shelley.
And any new development that goes behind Royal Acres.
Right, those are the lots I'm talking about that will be developed.
Okay, so let's keep them in there, right?
So now you want to keep them in there?
We have 41 new houses coming in our development, and they're probably not awesome.
So this, okay, those are all Linking Heights stuff, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. I didn't realize that.
Thank you for allowing me.
Bring back sure.
Can you speak up when we get to administrator?
I've been watching it.
So, okay, so we'll leave Licking Heights in there. We have Southwest, Water and Sewer, Fire Department. Is there anybody else that you think that a non-resident providing? No? So we'll have 4. Excellent. 4 officios. Is there any other comments, concerns? This is the survey is just what Jim had again for St. Albans, and I've modified the language for that. I also made an Adobe fill-in form, make it a little easier for people to do it that way.
Will it be on the website?
Yes, we'll put it on the website, and we can make copies here too. And those will be due May 2nd at noon, and the first meeting will be May 11th. And in the questionnaires, parent of school-age children in Southwest Licking schools or Licking High schools is trying to get a diversity of people. Was there any other questions that you thought were pertinent for this? And then while you're thinking about it, we did speak about trying to get this out. I know in Harrison Township, they did kind of an online Google Docs form. We have that trash flyer that goes out. The next one should be in June, which would time well with this, that we can include 8.5 and 11 information about completing the citizen survey. And the first couple meetings of the committee will be addressing what we're going to be asking. So that'll work out. They'll also set expense of mailing out to everybody. And then I had, it's coming, they could either mail it, drop it off here, or I had them email me, since Laura is busy, that I can compile all the information and I forward it to all the trustees of the committee, with those that apply, and then we would decide who's going to apply. I don't know if we want to do it, that it's a vote, or it's a majority vote with every trustee getting two picks, or how we do this, so nobody's froze out of it. And that we can just determine later. But this, I think, is important to approve to get out there, because I want to make sure that it reaches everybody that's interested in serving. So I would like to start distributing this tomorrow. And Jim Leonard looked it over and said it was good.
You didn't want to compile it?
He sent me the one that said St. Albans, so I went through.
No, but I'm saying that we're paying them to do something, this is not what it means we're paying them to do.
No. Because all this stuff was coming to the township, I'm sure. I mean, he's going to give his input with us. What we, the type of people that, and like I said, the diversity of some business owners,
right,
just everything to make sure we have, kind of disperse, put people on maps of where they're
He's
at.
helping us pick people, you think, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Because you met with him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I had asked him who we want, and he said, well, whoever you want. And I think he needs to be involved in helping us determine who's on the plan. So, but like I said, this is just to get, I mean, we can deal with who we're going to get and all that stuff later, but is the board satisfied with this so we can move forward?
I think it's a good way to get it out there so people can sign up for it.
But you're good on the language?
Yeah.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
All right, so I'll put that out there. I'll give it to Laura to put on the website. Yeah, so that'll give us 13 days to receive the applications and kind of review them and do that. And that's it. So do you guys have any other questions on that? No? Okay. So I'll get that out. B, administrator discussion regarding interviews and process, as I stated earlier. We've got several applicants. Mr. Johnson, have you had an opportunity now to review Ms. Lynn's resume?
Yes.
And as I said, the last 2 weeks, I've asked both other trustees if we could interview her and the other applicant, and I didn't get a response. Can we move forward and interview them? Have you spoken to Ms. Lynn?
No, I have not.
Ms. McKee, have you spoken to Ms. Lynn?
No, I have not.
I mean, is there any interest in interviewing for administrator? We've set up interviews before, and then both of you canceled those originally, and I think 4 people pulled out. We interviewed 4, nothing happened after those 4. We've gotten these 2 other ones in. Ms. Lynn, I believe, is a good candidate. Greg Reese, who is on our BZA, he's the chairman. He's got some experience, but I think Ms. Lynn has a lot of township experience. And again, she's very flexible. If you 2 are very insistent on a part-time or 1 day, 2 days, whatever, I think she's a good candidate. There's also other prior candidates that you guys didn't want to speak to that I think we're missing out on. So are you saying that you just want to refuse to interview?
I think you interview people that you're interested in for the job. Correct?
But you
don't interview to interview people.
Well, you didn't speak to her, so how do you know if you're interested?
Well, I read the resumes.
And what on her, she was acting administrator for a very large $30 million budget township. She was assistant administrator. She's well versed in all this stuff. She's willing to do it on a non-term contract that is at will. So if she doesn't work out, you can fire her the next day. And I believe she's a very good candidate, and I'm really shocked that this board doesn't even take the time to speak with these people. It just shows me that you're trying to shove through the one consultant that you just want. And you accuse me of needing it to be my way. I presented so many options. So again, you don't want to interview anybody.
Not right now.
Without speaking to them. You don't
Not
want
right now.
Why not?
Please.
No, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Oh,
Let's move on.
Breaking the law.
Okay, stop. You don't know the law, obviously. You keep saying that because we're
My
not.
attorney does.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect. That's not a threat. Is that a threat? Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead. Do your thing. It's fine. It's okay.
terrible.
Point of order.
Okay.
Please.
Let's move on.
Please, I'd
Let's
just
move
like
on.
to, in closing, I'd like to say I'm very disappointed this board is continuing the improper past. People say don't bring up the past, but that's what we're doing, is just continuing that. And
You do it very well, Mark.
this is not how you operate any entity. It's a waste of time for all the applicants to, do we want to just pull that information from the website since you 2 are just not serious about interviewing anybody? You didn't even look at her resume before and sat there for 3 weeks. You didn't even speak to her. Mr. Johnson, you're part of the continuing problem.
Let's move on, please. Please, let's move on.
All right.
Let's move on.
We've done Pike Street.
Yep. We're down at the
Now we're
IT
at
services.
IT services and needs, and again, this is agenda item I put on here, put on all these because I am concerned about getting things right. I've had a real issue with IT services for 2 months. I've not been able to get the programs installed on our computer. The IT contractor refused to provide the admin password, so we can do that. He refuses to even reply to me. Apparently, he is talking to you 2. I think that is inappropriate.
No, he didn't.
I don't have a password.
No, but I'm saying discuss them when I ask for the password, because the fiscal officer and I need certain programs on our computer. It's not on there. We still don't have remote in. These are ongoing issues that we're trying to deal with, but I believe that we need a password master list held by our fiscal officer of all our admin passwords, all the network passwords configurations, so that what happens with the security contractor doesn't happen with their IT guy, that they just refuse to communicate or just leave and hold us hostage, and we have to figure out what's going on. What happens if there's emergency?
So I put a motion on the, out there for us to go ahead and hire this Dynamics Network Management.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. But
Let's just
I'm
move
asking the board, are you willing to require these contractors to provide the passwords so we have them in our possession?
Nope, you don't give out passwords. Administrators do not give out, the IT administrators do not give out passwords. They give us local rights to our machine so we can install software if we need that, but that's it.
No, we need held safe with the fiscal officer.
That's not how it
Our
goes, Mark.
system configured.
That's
So
not
what
how it
happens if our
That's not how it works,
What
Mark.
happens if our one-man operation gets hit by a bus? How do we have access to our systems? How do we have continuity? Same thing that happened with the security contractor in the garage, left with I can't remember the passwords. That might be this, it might be that. We need this documented for our protection.
Okay, well, we can talk about that, but
That's
for
what I'm
now, I
talking
think
about.
we need to move on and hire a new company. Like you mentioned, you're not getting anywhere with this guy, so why not just go ahead and bring in, we have a resolution for this company, Dynamic Networks. You asked me to look for somebody that can help us, and I did. So I'm now presenting that today. I would like to make a motion for Dynamic Works to be the new contractor for the township, so we can avoid the gentleman we're having a problem with.
Okay, is there a second?
I want to help her for process. You need to read your resolution. That one, you're going to tag that resolution too.
Oh.
And then you're going to have his contract as your exhibit A.
Okay, resolution to approve Dynamics Network
You want to
Management.
make a motion
I make a motion
to approve the resolution?
to approve the resolution to approve Dynamic Networks Managed Service Agreement as presented in Exhibit A.
Is this
And Julie can tell you which number.
22-02 or?
That'll be a one.
Oh, one.
A one? Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
So how is this going to fix our password problem? How would this resolve this, when you can't get in there? Would they keep it on a log with their system somewhere?
Yeah, they have
and
a
then
24-hour
anybody-
help desk service.
So anybody that's within their system would be able to, so if one guy quit, somebody else would have, is that correct?
But even so, we as the client need the passwords to access our systems. Some companies, not saying this one will, hold that so that you cannot change vendors. Some, you don't know what happens, but we as the paying client need to have the system configurations, the passwords that stored safely in case something happens.
Your IT people have that.
Ma'am,
The IT
we're-
people hold that.
and
She's IT.
our security person held our passwords for the garage security, and he left
That's
without
different.
providing it. Our fiscal officer left without passwords, without providing it. This is what I'm saying, we need to be proactive, not reactive. So I think any contractor should provide that. Julie can keep it locked up. Again, she's got the security stuff. But this, again, I'm for change because the current contractor is not responsive whatsoever. I don't think Julie's even still looked up for remote in, and this has been months.
We can fix that.
And so is this proposed contractor, again, I got a little bit of information last night. It looked like you got a proposal Friday. I would encourage you to share it sooner so we can go through it.
I'm sorry, I was up with my family for the holiday weekend. I didn't get it till Friday. It was kind of.
And then this contract, I didn't see until we just walked in here. Now, does this handle all the network?
Read it, yes, read it, Mark. That's why I gave it to you.
I don't want to sit here and read it in front of it. These things should be prior. Obviously.
You want to do a work session for this later and then come back for a special meeting or anything? I mean,
Work session isn't.
I mean, we can right understand that, but I'm just saying, so you can read over it and
Has the
understand it.
prosecutor reviewed this contract?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, just give us a VPN too?
Yeah. That way, that was one of the issues that I brought to the table was we bought this part from this other company that, actually whoever we have right now, Bill Itchy, and he's not been able to get that VPN to work. But we purchased this part for it, but it's never worked.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that we had a meeting with Darren, and I included Laura in the meeting because she had some concerns as well. And that is something that was brought forward with the VPN because that was a concern that we know that should be working. That's an easy thing.
Now, as far as the labor rates, it says projects outside support scope, $95 an hour. After hours labor, 120, and then other hours labor, all labor, 190 an hour. What's 190 an hour? Because right now we're paying $105 an hour.
Okay. So do you want to stick with the guy that you have now?
No, I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, he's a little, because you also, not just that, you also have a 24/7 help desk support.
Okay, my question to you is, you met with this contractor, what is charged at $190 an hour?
That is his fee that he's going to charge us, the same thing you're paying monthly, he's going to charge you that monthly.
But he's got $95 an hour outside projects. He apparently quotes projects for strict fees, setting up the email is $950.
It's a one-time? Yep.
So after hours labor is $120 an hour. My question is, other hours labor, all labor, $190 an hour. What is charged at $190
okay, so
an
what
hour?
it is, if he comes in here and there's a problem with VPN, he's going to charge you $190 an hour to come in for that. Because
And that's not projects outside scopes?
Right. Or if you say you have a problem with your laptop.
Is that on-site labor? Is that what you're saying?
He comes to do, yep, they come right in.
190,
Yep.
so it's 190 on-site labor, but for
Right.
telephone support.
Correct, so we need to build a server in, so we need to go with a server. He's going to build a server, and he's going to charge us that $190 for it.
Have you looked at other?
I have not. No.
Don't you think we should?
We could, I mean, we went with the guy that we went with before, but this is a new person that you wanted, yeah, we can get other
No, I'm
quotes.
saying you could look at.
Yeah, we don't have to go with one quote, no, we can go with other quotes.
Don't you think it'd be
Just like you did
good
with
process?
your comp plan, when you went with the one guy, and then we had Jim Leonard to come back. So yeah, we can have a couple other
No,
quotes
that's
out
not
there.
the same.
No, it is the same, Mark, you just get different quotes, that's fine. Yeah,
No, I'm
it's the
saying,
same.
why wouldn't we get other quotes and talk to, unless you think this
Well,
is
it's
the
kind of
right.
like the security guy that you were talking about, the cameras. We didn't get a second quote on that, so I just kind of went with, somebody that works for another township.
We
Yeah, but
haven't
I'm
proceeded
saying,
with anything
so
security.
the camera guy, he gave us a quote, that's one.
And we haven't, I haven't
Yeah,
acted.
so we can, that's one we had so far, and that's the one he brought to the table. So if we want to add additional company that we want to look at, we're more than welcome to do that. It's not a problem. You just asked me to bring something
Are
to the
these
table.
fees reasonable in the industry?
They are in the industry. That's what I went with. Just like when you hired Vanessa, we gave her the $30 an hour because that's what the fees were the state was given for budget management when you send a fiscal person out there. So I kind of went with somebody, I'm just trying to, no, I'm not confusing.
No, you're
I'm just trying to show
conflating
it, no, I'm not,
a lot
Mark.
of-
I'm trying to get you to understand. These are the going rates out there right now. So this is why I went with this. Okay, just like the same thing with Vanessa, that was a going rate of $30 an hour. That's what you go with.
That was the traveling
Correct.
fiscal
Right,
officer,
yeah.
what the standard
Yeah.
charge was.
Right, exactly.
So you're saying 190 is the standard rate?
That's the standard rate. So if you want to
So
go out.
we're paying 105 now.
Well, he's a one-time, well, look what you're getting.
Right.
That's why we're here. That's why we have this conversation. Look
Okay.
what you're getting. So
I see this is Mount Vernon, is that their headquarters in Mount Vernon?
yes,
So they operate out of Mount Vernon?
Yes.
They're not operating out of who knows where?
no,
Is he going to be setting a server up for us?
if we
or-
want one. I mean,
Is this going to help with the issue of the public records request and access to the emails?
yeah, well, what he wants to
And-
do, and this is one of the things that he was talking about, if we decide we want a place to store things for documents, a shared folder, he can build that, put it out there for us.
Well, that's not,
access.
that's not server.
Well, no, you can still, no, I'm just telling you, that's one of the things he would do and charge us for that.
Do we know where their server is?
We don't have a server.
No, we know where their server is, because we're working off of their server.
Yeah,
Typically, they'll do
yeah,
AWS,
it's the
Amazon.
same thing.
So it'll be some,
Yeah. I mean, it's not,
I wonder who they were working with, that's what,
Yeah.
because there's stuff,
I mean,
somebody's server, big.
If they're efficient, 190, if they can come in and get out instead of taking a long time.
if you want to set up a time to interview with Darren, you're more than welcome,
No,
Jeff and Mark. It'd be good to sit down and have a
Well, this
conversation.
is your wheelhouse,
Yeah.
your IT computers.
I just said if you want, but you're questioning me, so I'm just telling you, I just want to be transparent. If you feel like you need to have a conversation with Darren, you're more than welcome. That would be great.
This just puts that thing in the back there, it makes a VPN, which now we can safely get on your laptop from wherever.
Well, that's what we need to
Right,
get her
and
to
then-
be able to remote in.
Exactly, without running to getting backdoor hacked. No, no.
We just purchased that and we can't figure out.
Well, that's the part that actually installs the system for access, but it's still a little.
So I know we needed something quickly because she's not worked, had that access remotely. So that was another reason why we were trying to
Laura,
find something
you met with
local.
him? Was that the individual you guys were meeting with, like, you feel comfortable with what he's?
I can't speak on rates because I haven't researched.
No,
it,
but as far as what he was talking
He
about.
doesn't feel we're gonna need a full server. We're on the cloud, Office 365. He can set up all the teams that we're not finished where we can share stuff. He seemed very knowledgeable.
Okay.
I told him what Julie's gonna need, and we went, I showed him the back room of all the equipment we just bought.
And he was-
He seemed like he could do all of that, and he's got a 24/7 help desk that Rosalind already tested and they answered.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
I can't speak on the rates. I didn't really look at the contract and compare
Okay,
rates.
well, I don't think,
And he's supposed to be checking out all that cost or why it's costing us so much with that.
He was saving us actually money.
What's the,
well, he was saying 35, I thought the average was 20.
What was that, we were paying that extra?
That's why I said, he looked at the App River and he was
Yeah.
gonna research that, to see if he could get
At a
the
lower-
Office 365 down into a government cost.
Yeah,
and he
because
was
we
gonna
were paying, we know we weren't in the government cost because the taxes were showing on
Yeah,
the,
he was trying to fix all that.
Yeah, and
I thought the current plan, we're on the G3, I thought he was proposing the G5, which is a lot more secure, I don't know if we need that.
Yeah, I didn't look at all of that. I mean, he seemed like a very knowledgeable man.
Do you know about that, Rosalind, or
G3.
between G3 and G5, what he's proposing?
He didn't say on that, he's gonna,
You're not familiar?
No.
Okay.
how long is this contract for?
I think it's,
it had a 30-day clause in there.
Yeah, I couldn't
we
find
just
it.
need to
That's
get
what
rid
I
of
was
it.
looking for, I couldn't
Yeah.
find. 90 days? So it's good for 9 days upon that renewals?
so we got.
I think he also
Oh,
told
really?
us that he could revisit us on that and see, once he got us set up, if you guys really needed the monthly contract, or if we could do something else, because he wasn't sure after you got up and going if you really need that contract.
yeah, because he didn't think we did.
And he didn't think you were going to need a monthly after you got going.
And then the only thing I would say is, for this transition, if we had the master passwords, system configuration, all that, it would be a simple thing of Julie handing him the packet and saying, here you go. Now we're going to have to rely on the
I
prior
am going to tell
contractor.
you, he did recommend that we don't have master passwords here, but he's a whole company, he's not one person.
No, what I'm saying, how's he going to get them? We got to rely on the prior
Oh,
contractor
no, I'm talking
who's
about in
leaving.
the future, though, he did recommend for security purposes, you don't give out his password.
You don't give out, but I think
But
you
he's
should
a
have,
company and not an individual, so you wouldn't lose him that way.
but still, I think you should have sealed.
Just letting you know what he said, he did not recommend we give out his password.
All right, well, what's board's pleasure? That's what I have to say. I guess, any other discussion? I guess roll call. Ms. Marion?
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Then, Ms. McKee, you work with them on transition now?
Oh, yes, yeah, that's not what.
Okay. All right, the sheriff's deputies, fleet vehicle wash and business cards, I want to bring that to the board's attention. Apparently, they have been paying for their own washes of our vehicles. I don't think that's appropriate. I think we should pay to wash and maintain our vehicles. It's about once a week. The county has provided all the other deputies, except ours, because ours are special duty with a fleet vehicle wash from Moo. I spoke with Doug Parker at Moo. He said they would be able to set us up with a fleet account at approximately $4 per wash per vehicle, which if you wash it once a week, $208 a year. I would like to propose, actually I would like to move to approve opening a fleet account with Moo Car Wash for the purpose of washing our deputies' vehicles. Is there a second? I'll second. Mr. Johnson seconds. Discussion?
So the sheriff, we couldn't attack that on our contract, or?
No, they're doing it separate. The commissioners, I guess, approved some funds for them to do it. So it's totally separate, and we're responsible for all our fees.
Okay.
So to do
So
that.
it's like our township vehicle.
It is our vehicle.
Okay.
And when it has to be replaced, we got to
Right,
replace
I
it.
understand that.
So that's why I think it's important that Salt Talk and I don't think it should be up to the deputies to pay out of pocket to wash our vehicles.
No, I agree.
So, and like I said, talked to Doug Parker at Moo Car Wash. He, I guess they're having a little problem setting up some fleet accounts, but they'll get the tags if they haven't already. They said they could just stop by and they'll install the tags in there, and they could get that going. We would just have to set up a fleet account eventually. And
where's the closest Moo at?
Newark for us. We have to go out to station, still file charges and stuff like that.
Okay, so you drive right past it. I was
Right.
thinking it was all the way.
Right.
yeah, they're going by it. And
Okay.
they're
As long as
familiar
they're going
with
by
it,
it, that's
so.
fine.
Yeah, we're still mandated to turn in charges and stuff like that, so we're still down that way, so.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Then the other thing is, I was really surprised that our deputies have to pay for their own business cards that they hand out to the public on calls, write the case number down. Again, it's not a great expense, but it is an additional expense. I look at it as, teachers have to pay for the supplies for the children. I don't think that should be on the deputies to do that. I spoke to Sydney, I think she goes through about $1,000 a year, and she was saying, $50 and above. So I would move to pay for and/or reimburse the cost of the deputies' business cards up to, I put $125 per year each, in case they go through a lot more than they need. Is there a second?
I'll second that for discussion.
Johnson, second.
For discussion?
Yeah, the cards, would they say Etna Township, or would they say Liberty County Sheriffs, or what would they say on them?
Well, right now, ours is just whatever we make them, as in so I'm a crash investigator for the county sheriff's office, so I went to, deputy manager, crash investigation, crash reconstructionist.
Okay.
So if you guys wanted to stay at the township below that, then absolutely.
Okay.
But right now, did you tell me your wife bought those for you?
Yeah, I went Christmas
For
gift.
Christmas.
She bought you those for Christmas?
I don't think the deputies should have to pay for
No.
that. If they want to design them and do it.
Well, on my one list, yeah, I know they have to put Licking County on it probably, but I want to make sure that Etna was on there too, in the forms, if we're going to pay for the
If
cards.
we're paying for them, I'm sure they'll put out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I said, I either we
Now-
pay for it or reimburse. I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah. Now, would we get the logo, or could the county do the printing and we pay them, or?
We design it ourselves. Me and
Do you
Sydney,
really?
we
Okay.
both just go on to whatever the business card website is, I can't think of the name of the little
Okay.
fancy one, and
Okay.
you just copy paste the star and just put
Okay.
the yellow lettering in, and that's it.
So possibly you could send us one for approval when
That's
we got it
fine.
all done.
You're fine.
How you
Thank
pay
you.
for it.
Do you really want to approve that? I mean,
Well, I
because
don't
he's
want-
different than probably Sydney.
Oh, yeah. What I'm saying, I think you want a standard card for all our deputies after 1 year or not.
We can have more of a generic one too, without a name, just say Lincoln County, or add a deputy in there.
Well, I'd rather hear
Everyone do it.
whoever came out, I'd rather than on this.
I would more they've been doing it, let them do it, just put Etna Township. Just my
As long as
proposal.
that is on there, I guess I'm on it.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Okay, ODOT salt contract resolution. We've got the resolution here for the purchase of the salt. Risk plan, salt. Last year was 800 tons, doing 1,000 tons. We have to buy at least 90%, but we can buy up to 110% at the reduced rates. So I'd make a motion to pass the resolution 220419-02. Resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2022. Is there a second?
Is it 100 tons? Second, it's 100 tons, right? Or
1,000 tons, correct. We've got probably about, what, 300-400 in the barn now. It can hold about 1,400-1,500. So we could fill it up if we need to.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Any other discussion? No, and we need to make sure we sign this before, because Laura's got to upload it to the...
We want to sign it.
All three of us have to sign it, so just make sure.
Mark, you made the motion, who seconded it?
Johnson seconded.
It's number 2.
Okay. No other discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
All right. And then C, we're skipping over that.
No, actually, we need it.
Oh, we need it?
Yep.
Okay, C, subgrant agreement with West Licking Fire District resolution. Julie,
This is going back to the grant that we gave to the West Licking Fire District that there wasn't a resolution to pass at the end of last year for those funds. So we're going to do it tonight.
Is this one, the expenditure?
we don't have that one, do we?
Oh, actually, we don't have it. But I have to get it to, I have to report it by April 30th, so.
So how are we going to do that? We have to do a resolution by April 30th then?
Yeah, let me just see if Laura can print it.
Okay.
Oh, she has it back then?
I emailed it to her.
Oh, okay.
If not, I'll send it out.
Okay.
We'll just skip over that one.
And then, we'll, unless we have, with the ARPA funds, or we can move on to other stuff. Do you want to say?
I'm just emailing it from my phone.
Okay. Do you want to deal with then, we'll do the use of sheriff's contract for ARPA funds resolution. Okay. I move to approve resolution number 2204-1903, authorizing expenditure from American Rescue Plan Act funds. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McKee seconds. Discussion? And I believe, Julie, this is just required just to formalize us using those ARPA funds for the sheriff's contract, correct?
Yes, it reads the sheriff's contract and general government administration, because if something happens, then we have a second project. But they recommended 2 projects.
Or that it takes too long to get those other deputies or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
That's under public infrastructure support, the sheriff's thing with you, right?
Yeah.
Because it listed those 4 items down here with the bullet points.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing, are those 4, because we were talking about that before, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember seeing the sheriff by you did.
It's a public safety.
Was that's
A.
right, infrastructure support. Right?
No, it's not infrastructure. It's public health emergency. And
Oh, I'm here on the top one, okay. Okay.
it's C.
Is there any other discussion? No. Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
All right. And we'll just make sure we sign this before we go tonight. Then move money, move money from general fund 1,000 to 3901 for the 310 project bond payments, the resolution. So I will move.
Okay, what about old business? It's like you skipped some stuff under old business. So you're going back.
Well, I'm going through the,
All right.
we've got things to go back. Waste management. Do you have that resolution, Julie? Did you? Oh, transfer funds. Yeah, resolution. I move to approve resolution 220419-04 The transfer of funds, again, from 1,000 general to the 3901 for the 310 project bond payment, an amount of $100,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. McKee seconds. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Okay, so we got moved, Subgrant. Grant, you're waiting on the printing, correct?
I got it, yeah.
You
Lauren,
want
did I
to-
send you that? Did you ever have that?
No, I do not have
We'll do a motion to approve, pay the bills and approve purchase orders, but I moved to approve resolution number 220419-05 to approve purchase orders. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. McKee seconds. Discussion? No. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
All right, so that's done. Is that everything from you, Julie, or is she printing that?
I haven't had a chance to give that to her.
All right, we'll move to, let me see, we did IT, what did you add? Did we get everything on the agenda? Because we skipped around with Mr. Lozier with their comp plan, Mr. Pike, IT, Sheriff, then we'll come back to that. The one you added at the last minute, for Mr. Vance. So, again, I think this is inappropriate that this was put out here today, not even on the agenda, to give people an opportunity to come here. It's not transparent. This should be tabled, and Mr. Vance isn't even here to discuss. We've never interviewed him formally. And again, he's refused to even respond to me.
I interviewed Mark, like we did, don't put your hand up.
All right, but I'm sure
interviewed
you're
him.
interrupting me.
But you're saying we didn't interview him, that's not true. I interviewed him, just like I interviewed Vanessa.
But
We did the same thing, we were contractors.
But he's refused to communicate with me.
I
And you're fine with that?
don't think that's true.
I'm going to show
No,
you
I
all
don't
the
mean that,
text.
that's not true.
Let me show you all the text.
text.
When I asked him, please call me, please respond, please show up at the meeting so we can discuss with you, and no response.
I moved to enter in an agreement with professional WMB Government Resources with Mr. Vance.
Resolution.
It's a resolution,
Yeah,
so you would move to
I
approve the
moved to
resolution.
approve the resolution.
Number,
Let me see, what's that one I just put on?
Resolution.
220419, what's the next, what's the last one?
06.
0406? Okay, thank you.
You have on there your exhibit A.
Oh, okay, I can do that, yeah. As preceded, Exhibit A. Presented, Exhibit A. So,
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Exhibit A is the contract.
yeah.
Has the contract been reviewed by the prosecutor?
Yes,
It has? And
yes.
I don't see anything in here. I spoke with our insurer, and they requested that as part of the risk assessment that any contractors contain clauses, especially with the administrator here working with everybody and concerns that I had. I agreed with them that they're required to participate in harassment, sexual harassment training.
Okay.
I did not get a reply from the prosecutor on that.
Because you can't, okay, that's fine. So did you make sure that Mrs. Niekamp is bonded? And she has to be bonded.
We're talking
No,
about
no,
this.
no, no. You have to be fair across the board. Ms. Niekamp has to be bonded to work with Julie, that for our township. Yes, she does. She's working.
This is what
No.
I am.
So we need to talk about that.
No, we had a risk.
Mark, I'm just trying to be fair with all of our
We had a risk assessment on February 18th. and we had 60 days to implement that policy. I forwarded that to you because we have to change the employee handbook, and they recommended that any contractor also participates in that. And if you want to dismiss any of the training that our insurer is saying
I'm not saying
should
dismiss any
be
training. I agree, we all should be included. All of us should actually.
But it's not in here, and I requested from the prosecutor
And it's,
to review it and to include
Mark,
it. And
the
never-
prosecutor gave us this agreement. It's a done deal, Mark. Sorry. We're done. Let's move on.
So you do not want to include what
Julie?
our insurer wants as part of the risk
Call for the
assessment.
question.
You want to shut down debate.
We got 3 minutes. That's it. Because you're repeating the same thing. We've
No,
heard
we're
this.
not.
Yeah, we've heard it, Mark. The meeting started. You've said it. You've taken the floor over and over again. We want to move on. We're not going to be here till 11 o'clock like we were last week.
So we
Call
don't.
for the question.
Unbelievable. Ms. Varian?
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Might as well not even add an election. My question on that is, who is he going to report to? Apparently, he's not going to discuss anything with me.
He reports to the board, all 3 of
Who's
us.
supervising?
We don't need a supervisor.
Who's going to direct him and his
Mark,
duties?
Mark, let's move on. Let's move
I'm
on.
asking a question. Who's going to
Let's
direct him
move
in his, who's going to direct him in his duties?
Let's move on.
Answer the question.
Answer the question, please.
Who is going to direct him in his duties?
The
So,
board directs him in his duties, Mark. It's no different if you brought an administrator in, so don't pretend like it is. It's no different. It's exactly the same thing if you brought an administrator in full-time. The board will work with him just like we will work with anybody else. That's how it's set up.
Well, let me ask you, Mark, who would we hire administrator, who would they report to?
they would report to the board, but the president, right, would assist in doing that. You're going to have 3-point people?
Well, the president, I mean, you could appoint another trustee to supervise that if you wanted, it didn't have to be the president necessarily, right? So, I mean, I'm seeing your point, not the president, but, you know, it could be
Well,
a trustee. for
Again,
any
this was
trustee, right?
rushed through, shoved through, what are duties, and you don't even want to interview other people.
Point of order.
So, but, all right, is there anything else?
Oh, we got new week. Is that it? We're still on the old business?
Well, Julie, do you have the new business, did you get that printed or not? Not yet?
What about the business cards?
Did we do that already? Was that the?
Business cards, we already done.
That was finished.
Was that finished?
Oh, that was on your other agenda. You talked about the cards for us, but I guess we're not going to talk about that. It's not on this
On
one.
the cards.
Business card, township business cards. You have it under old business.
Oh, yeah. On back to old business, township business cards, long ago, I asked you about, are we going to order them? I printed my own, I printed yours for you. I printed Julie's at my expense to get us going. I suggested that the logo be larger than the current one. You can't even see it's that now. It was a simple question of, are you guys okay with the bigger logo?
I'm okay.
And you guys said, so are we going to move forward with that design? Because I think
His design says we're just making it bigger.
the one I printed for you is what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, same thing, it's bigger.
The logo is bigger and there's titles on it.
So I guess we could proceed with that. Otherwise, I was just going to print more. I think the card should be consistent. And then also, like I said, we've got our new assistant zoning inspector. He should get some cards just for better contact with the community. So, all right.
What's the next one?
And I think that, Roslyn, you wanted to probably remove me from a duty.
Yep, board appointment.
All right, this was yours.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that facilitate things better. We remove
Mr. Evans as president and install
Ms. McKee at the
A second.
Discussion?
Discussion, sorry. Well, I think he just had a discussion.
So that's the discussion?
No, well, I'm just, the discussion
Well-
is you continually to take over and you just badger your colleagues. Myself, I see you do it to Jeff, and it's a constant. You talk about what happened way back with the other board. You badger me on a regular basis. You question us like we're your children. They don't even know the emails you send. We won't even bring those up. And with that, yes, don't look at me like that, Mark. It's a
They
fact.
see the emails.
Yeah, you send some nasty emails to you, like we're your children or we're subordinate to you. You're the president. The president, just so everybody knows, just does the agenda, okay, and they run the meeting. That's it. He's not my boss. He's not Jeff's boss. He's not Julie's boss. We're all equal, okay? With that being said, these are things that needs to be addressed. That's not how you treat us. It's like you're getting to the point where you just talking down at us, and then you get some of your residents to support you doing that, which is not nice. I don't treat people nasty and mean. That's not how I conduct myself. I'm very professional. Whether somebody called me a wolf, I'm a Christian. Okay, that was mean-spirited. But just to get that out there, we have to work together as a board, and I'm willing to work with you, Mark. I'm willing to do that. Okay, we have to move forward with this township. We have to change a lot of things here in this township, meaning do the right things. Okay, and that's my discussion.
All right, and I have fought for nothing but change from the beginning. I fought for 2.5 years for change in this township from the improper administration. And when I came in here, I heard we can't change things from Mr. Johnson. Now, everything on this agenda, except what you added today, was me trying to get change implemented. Everything on every other agenda was me except probably 4 things, blessing box, which I originally talked to the resident and gave to you. I'm speaking, please. I've done nothing but try to get change. We weren't compliant with records requests, with email retentions. We were copying emails to the secretary so she could run the request, but it wasn't capturing when people didn't reply all. Not everybody would copy. These are the things that I was trying to get done so it actually runs like a proper entity. We don't have working files. We don't have anything. I mean, I asked for copies of DCAs and CRAs. We got to look to our attorney. We don't have things here. These, again, are the things that we need to change. And apparently, you guys just want to stop that change. And I am sorry I ever supported you as a candidate, because it's not the change that the residents voted for. So you guys can vote any way you want. You've already shoved through stuff, throwing things on this podium an hour before the meeting, contracts. You don't even have the decency, when I ask you, do you want things included on this agenda, to respond and have it on the agenda so the public knows. That's not transparent. That's playing games. That's what the prior administration does. People say we shouldn't talk about the prior administration. It's still here. And you've aligned with it of not wanting these changes. I mean, do you not care about the dangerous curve? Do you not care about having proper plans? Do you not care about having all the reports in? And the president just doesn't make the agenda in that. I've been dealing with the developers. I've been trying to make sure that we have all the 629 reports in that were $500 a month per report. Fine if we didn't. I found out a week prior to we do, because again, we didn't have proper policies in place. By your actions, nothing's going to change. Again, might as well have John Carlisle sitting in your seat.
Oh, okay. Okay, Mark, that was very nice of you to say that.
It is, because you don't want to change.
So
that's what I have to say with this. It's very disappointing. I'll continue to fight for the residents, but obviously you two are just going to vote me out, ignore me, even after you say that's what I want to do. I've tried to work with both of you, giving options, it's not my way or anything. With your cell phone, You just said I wanted a cell phone. I said, here's 4, I had 24 hours notice. I said, here's 4 different options.
That's not how you presented it, Mark.
And
that's not how you presented
but
it.
you're not accomplishing any change. What have you changed?
Julie, call for the question.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Ms. McKee?
Yes. Okay. So,
It's your meeting.
I move to make Jeff Johnson the Vice President of the Board of Trustees.
Second.
Discussion?
Ms. McKee, didn't you say before that you did not trust Mr. Johnson?
I didn't know Mr. Johnson.
You didn't know Mr. Johnson?
I didn't know
After
Mr.
all
Johnson.
these years? in the
Just like I
township?
didn't know you. And I didn't know Julie.
Mark, you asked us.
You asked
agreed
us.
to it. You said, listen, you take on my responsibility, so I can go back and do my job.
Because you
So-
wouldn't
And
do
we did. We're doing that, okay?
shoving in your
Moving
will.
forward also. You asked for it, we helped you out, we think you'd be happy because you were so buried, you have more time to do a better job of what needs to be done.
I said get an administrator.
We did.
No, you didn't. You get 2 days a week.
That's enough in my opinion.
It's,
Think you got to come in and do the job and go on. A guy that we can get rid of within almost any time frame we need to, and you don't have to sit around and coffee and drink coffee 5 days a week.
if you've been here 14 years, you're the reason that FedEx building is there with those people. You tried to blame it on the zoning commission.
I'm one of the
You
reasons.
didn't vote.
I'm not the reason, I'm one of the reasons. I'm one of the 3 reasons at least that's there. Yes, I will admit to that. And I'll make
You
it
tried to
a
blame
diamond
it on the
promise.
zoning commission.
I didn't blame myself.
Yes, you did.
No.
We have it on video.
I blamed it on the fact that they didn't live up to what they were supposed to do out there. I'll agree with you that.
So they're in violation of their zoning?
It was told there was a wall, and things we need to go.
So are you going to pursue that violation? That they didn't meet their obligations?
Look into it, yes.
Please don't just drive by like you did on the dangerous.
No, I can't drive there anymore, it's not on there.
Call for the question.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Julie printed another resolution.
Oh, yeah. Where's the one I signed? Adjourn meeting.
No, she's got that we got the resolution printed.
You're running meeting, we saw the resolution.
And then the one from the Salt Rossburg, I need you guys to sign this right here. This is the one you guys are going to pass, but I need from the Salt, just if you pass it around, I'll give it up when I have it.
Point of order, before you deal with signing, can we get on with the duties of the board?
Yep.
Sorry, you said I still think I'm running the board.
Okay, so
I'm trying to move
where did
the
we,
board forward.
okay, so,
Do we need a
so we need a motion to pay the bills and approve the purchase order.
We already did that.
We already did
Okay,
that.
so that's done.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number, which one is it this time?
22041908.
Is it 07?
No, 07 was the subgrant. Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's
07.
07?
Yeah.
07.
Yep.
Subgrant CARES Act funding to West Licking Fire District. And the amount, what you say here was, this is just the CARES Act money. For people's thing, it's $309,888.36.
They use that money for overtime and expenses during the COVID when they were running the extra squad. They had a specific COVID squad that they were running out there, so they were able to get that and use it for that. We couldn't use it here, we were going to send it back. We had to use for local people that would benefit from it. They are taking care of doing their end. Did you get a copy of that, Julie?
Yes.
They got sent, so we're all in it. And with them also.
Should be good.
Okay, good.
Are you asking for a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
The only thing I'll say about these funds, we could have kept them in the township, and use them as general funds or anything else. I would have preferred that. I am glad to still have the fire department, but again, we got to look out for our township on this stuff. It's fire department has other funding, it's nothing against fire department, but again, the last board did give away quite a bit of money. And as you said, with the Pike Street, we've got a lot of expenses coming up, and I'm glad this is finally resolved because we could have been on the hook to repay this. And that's another thing with proper policies and procedures. We need to make sure it's done right. A lot of things aren't.
I will assure you that we wouldn't have this money right now. The fire department wouldn't have it. It would have gotten no easier than sent back to the federal government if it hadn't gotten sent to the fire department. It would have gone back to the government.
It would have went to general funds.
No, it wouldn't. The other trustees would have gone out of here.
You did originally say that you approved the funds to them, then you took that back because they were going to use it for bonuses.
No.
You did say that.
Offer that, and then they talked about that, so, no. That's not true. That's not true.
Rosalind has a recording.
And you know, that's why we don't talk to you, Mark. Stuff like that, that's not true. It's that simple.
Nope.
All right?
Rosalind's even got a recording of it, she said. All right.
Motion, I motion for adjournment.
We're going to do roll call.
Well, shoot, sorry, better hold on, sorry.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Now you know.
So we voted on it, yeah, so a motion to adjourn.
Looking for one, you're making one.
Motion for adjournment.
I
move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Roger, would you say 8:40 for the record?
8:40, we adjourn for the record.
And we got to sign all this other stuff.